Chapter 292. Chong Lu immediately panicked. He stammered, "Why do I have the smell of urine on me? The smell here is so strong. You had just finished peeing. If you had fainted, it would be impossible for you not to have rubbed it on your body." Chow Shao continued to interrogate. "How would I know? I just fainted. Maybe someone else caught me and didn't let me fall to the ground." Chong Lu was confused. "Chong Lu, you can't hide anything from us. To be honest, we're helping you find the murderer. If we can't find the murderer, we'll definitely execute you in front of everyone. Then the game will completely fail." Chong Lu immediately became nervous. "But that's all I know. I did faint here, and then I don't know anything. As for why I didn't rub on the pee, who knows?" "Alright, we're done here. Chong Lu, let's not dwell on this for now. Bring us to the place where you were found." Jia Ming stopped Chow Shao. "I still don't know where that place is," Chong Lu cried. "Were you carried back while unconscious?" "No, when I woke up, I found myself lying on a stone plot. The stones below were all extremely tough, and they poked my entire back until it hurt like hell. I remember the first time I opened my eyes, I saw a huge Joshua tree at the foot of the mountain opposite me. Before I could completely wake up, I was carried back by a group of people." Jing Li asked curiously, "Then can you still remember the way you were carried back?" "I can only give it a try. At that time, I was directly tied up by them and then carried away. My eyes could only see the sky and the surrounding mountains." Chong Lu smiled bitterly. "Let's go. Let's find that stone plot first." Chow Shao walked forward. Then, after Chong Lu had taken the wrong path countless times and turned back countless times, they finally found the stone plot that he spoke of. Jia Ming lay down at the place Chong Lu pointed at. There was indeed a Joshua tree at the foot of a mountain far away. Chow Shao realized that they had already walked far away. They had gone around the factory, but the barbed wire fence seemed to be far behind them. "Brother Ming, do you think this barbed wire fence was set up by the production crew or was it already here?" "It's quite big." Jia Ming stood up and took a look. "I think it's the original one. In that era, this place had become a holy land for gold. There must have been a lot of people who wanted to rob and run away. So the surveillance and equipment designed by Director Wang should be restored on the original basis, but for such a big project like the barbed wire fence, I guess they used what was left behind before." "I don't think so. It's been so many years. The barbed wire probably doesn't exist anymore. According to Director Wang's crazy character, I guess he's restoring it based on the past. If your guess is right, then that means, back then, in order to prevent gold miners from escaping with the gold, there was such a large barbed wire fence. It's a huge project. How is this a variety show? It's definitely a movie." Chow Shao looked at the cameraman following behind them. They were all expressionless. It seemed that the director had also given them a gag order and nothing could be leaked. "Sai, Brother Chow, Brother Ming, why are you two studying the barbed wire fence? Aren't you still looking for the murderer?" Jing Li asked, panting behind them. She had already taken off the gold-digging clothes and covered her head, revealing the suspenders inside. "The sun here is too big. Are you done looking? Can we go back?" As they were talking, they saw Chong Lu lying on the stone. "That's not right. This doesn't seem to be the place where I opened my eyes in the morning." Jia Ming squatted down and followed his line of sight. "Isn't there a Joshua tree opposite?" "The tree is right. The scenery seems to be this scenery, but the stone under me doesn't feel right. When I woke up, I felt pain all over my lower body. I tried to support myself with my hand, but it was cut by a particularly sharp stone. But look around me now, there are only round stones. Where is the sharp stone?" Chow Shao squatted down and looked around carefully. Sure enough, it was as Chong Lu had said. They were all round like cobblestones. There were no sharp stones at all like the people that Chong Lu had mentioned. "Let me see the wound on your hand." Chong Lu raised his hand. At that time, he must have used his palm to press down hard. There was a cut in the middle of his hand. The blood had already dried and there was a small red spot. Xiao Xiao and Jia Ming looked at each other. Chonglu didn't lie to them. Then it's not this place. Then where is it? Try to recall again. We must find this place. Hence, Chonglu started searching around again. Jingli simply sat on a stone. The weather was so hot that the stone was boiling hot. There was not even a place to hide. Chonglu searched for a long time. Sai, look here. Xiao Xiao and the others quickly walked to Chong Li's side. He pointed at the corner of a standing stone beside him. There was a piece of cloth hanging on it. Xiao Xiao took off the cloth and looked at Chong Li's entire body. Finally, he found a gap beside his right calf. He picked up the cloth and compared it. The size was about the same. This stone is about half the height of a person. If you were carried away at that time, you might have rubbed against it when you turned the corner and the cloth was scraped off, Jia Ming analyzed. Could it be that this place is right? You were carried away here in the morning? How do you explain those stones? Why did they change from sharp stones to round stones? Chonglu was dumbfounded. He didn't know why. When you woke up, was the overseer already dead? They said so. The overseer was also carried back. Things seemed to be even more complicated and confusing. Just as they were at a loss, the director's voice suddenly came from Xiao Zhao's earpiece. Hint: the murderer is among you, and the murderer will continue to commit crimes. If the murderer kills everyone else, the murderer wins. If the murderer is caught during the murder, the person who catches the murderer wins. Each of you will be given a special dagger. Only when you are stabbed by the dagger will you win. F***CK. After the four of them heard this, they looked at each other. They didn't expect this killing game to have an upgraded version. The four teammates had now become four competitors. No one knew who the killer was. After Yenran woke up, she looked out of the window. The entire natural stone landscape was like a painting that spread out in front of her eyes. It was colorful and colorful, winding like a dragon. In front of her right, a stone axe seemed to have fallen from the sky, cutting off an entire side of the stone mountain. At this time, it was already evening. The afterglow of the setting sun shone on the painting, making it look a little gray. How much longer? It should be more than an hour. When we get there, it will be completely dark. After we go in, where do we go? This place is very big. Little Six had been driving for the whole afternoon and was a little tired. We should go to the scariest and most mysterious place. Are you talking about the stone pit? Then I don't think there's a road there. After the car stops at the end of the road, I think we can only walk in. It's okay. When we get there, wait for me in the car. It'll be faster if I go in alone. Little Six didn't hesitate. He knew that compared to Yenran, he was like heaven and earth. He just needed to listen to her orders. Then be careful. I heard that it's very strange inside. Yenran didn't say anything. Looking for two people in here would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. When they finally reached the end of the road, the sky was completely dark. At around 8 p.m., Little Six stopped the car under a Joshua tree. Sister Yenran, if Minister Tian was captured and brought here, do you think we should have seen at least one car? Whether it was parked here or returning to the city, we didn't see any. It's also possible that they took different roads. There are many forks here. Little Six nodded. Even though he had followed the road until it was dark, there were many other roads marked on the map. He watched as Yenran walked into the darkness. He looked at his phone. Thankfully, there was still a weak signal. Yenran walked for a while and was getting impatient. The ground was too hard to walk on. There were stones everywhere, and they hurt her feet. She simply flew up and arrived at a higher place, where she had a panoramic view of everything around her. In her field of vision, it was a basin. The area was so big that she couldn't see it with her eyes. There were stone mountains everywhere, and occasionally, there were a few Joshua trees standing in the middle. There was almost no vegetation here. The few spots of greenery were the most surprising existence here. The leaves were needle-like. Yenran realized that they were grown cacti. It made people think that they were at the edge of a desert. Looking into the distance, there was something different. The bright moonlight and starlight in the sky were extremely bright. They passed through the night sky without any fog and pollution. It was clear and bright. What surprised her was that other than the starlight that filled the sky, there were also bits of human light that were faintly emitted from the other side of the valley. This place was called Death Valley. Why would there be people here at night? Could it be Minister Tian and the others? Yenran flew down and went directly to the light. Yenran climbed up a higher stone and looked down. She was right. The light just now was the light, and it covered the entire Death Valley. Yenran released her spiritual sense and probed towards the light. Her spiritual sense was like countless hands that slowly extended forward. It passed through the barbed wire, passed through the construction of the factory, and climbed up the hill. The light was everywhere, but the people were all on the hill. Yenran probed out. There were at least 100 people here. Strange. Why were there so many people gathered here? According to their aura, they should be ordinary people. However, this shouldn't be something that Yenran should be concerned about. Minister Tian, who she was looking for, was definitely not among the crowd. In Death Valley, it was too easy to let a person fend for himself. Yenran retracted her spiritual sense and continued to fly along the outside of the barbed wire. She was looking for living creatures in this barren place. Chapter 293. Xiao Xiao and the others looked at the daggers in their hands and looked at each other. They should have heard the director's words. Everyone's eyes immediately revealed a suspicious expression. Xiao Xiao strangled Chong Li's neck. Was it you? Did you kill the overseer? Chong Lu was shocked. How could it be me? I'm the victim. Didn't you see that I was beaten and kicked by them this morning? Tell me, why don't you smell of urine? I suspected that you weren't telling the truth just now. Jia Ming also pointed the finger at Chong Lu. Stop it. The murderer is definitely not me. It must be one of the three of you. Was I the only one who woke up last night? When I woke up, the car door was open. Someone must have been one step ahead of me. Chong Lu had already shouted. Xiao Xiao immediately said, Last night, I was going to look for food, but when I woke up, I found that your tent had been opened and the car door had been opened. I must have woken up after you, but after I went back, you still didn't go back to the tent. Oh look. That means that someone didn't sleep last night like me. Why don't you suspect Xiao Xiao? I fainted at that time. Xiao Xiao, did you do it? Chong Lu had already started to fight with each other. Brother Xiao is so handsome. How can he be the murderer? Jing Li whispered. You moron, do you think being handsome is enough to make a living? You're not his girlfriend. Why are you speaking up for him? I think he's the most suspicious. Chong Lu had a bad temper and began to speak without thinking. Jing Li stomped her feet angrily. You look like a bad person. Moreover, only you and the overseer were found together. Brother Qiao wasn't with you at all. How can he be the murderer? Xiao Xiao touched his nose. He hadn't jumped out to defend himself yet, but Jing Li had already spoken up for him. At this moment, Jia Ming also looked at Xiao Xiao suspiciously. Why didn't you say that you woke up too? Xiao Xiao was speechless. I thought this matter had nothing to do with me, so I didn't say anything. But I think Chong Lu is the most suspicious. Alright, let's stop arguing here. Just now, the director said that only if the murderer is caught red-handed the next time he commits a crime will we be recognized as the winner of the game. So, everyone, be careful. It's time for dinner. I think we should go eat first. Jia Ming looked at the few of them deeply. Only Jing Li was running the fastest. Her little sling was showing off in front of the few big men. She couldn't care less. The most important thing was to run back to hide from the sun. At this moment, Jia Ming walked up and patted Xiao Zhao's shoulder. I don't think it's possible for Jing Li. She can't even lift Chong Lu. So, Xiao Xiao, it's you, right? Xiao Xiao smiled. Although I also got up, it really wasn't me. Jia Ming looked at the man who was wearing a gold-plated suit and still had a charming smile. He smiled faintly. The corners of his mouth were slightly upturned. His hands were in his pockets, and it was difficult to hide his charm. "Let's go eat first. We still have to work in the afternoon to earn dinner." Chow Shao waved behind him and strode towards the factory. Jia Ming sighed. He knew that Director Wang would torture people, but he didn't expect him to play like this. He pinched his eyebrows and looked at the Joshua tree in the distance. Like a hero praying to the sky with his hands raised high, he put his hands together in front of his chest. He hoped that the murderer would be found soon. In the afternoon, their work was the same as yesterday's afternoon. They continued to be in charge of the boiler in the steamer-like factory. In the afternoon, they had changed a supervisor, but he was still as vicious as yesterday. Not only that, but he also focused on Chong Lu. Use more strength and increase the speed of coal release. Raise the shovel higher. The stick in his hand kept knocking on the ground. Chong Lu started to talk back, but he didn't expect to be scolded directly. A murderer is still so arrogant. If it weren't for the boss giving you a chance in the morning, you would have been in the police station by now. Work, don't talk. Chong Lu was worried that he would lose control of the supervisor and be taken to the police station. Then, he would have to take his lunchbox in advance. He could only endure everything. But not long after, his arms began to tremble. He had been tormented all night and was beaten up in the morning. His physical strength was obviously a little exhausted. The high temperature in the boiler room roasted him. Chong Lu felt like a duck that was about to be roasted. Seeing the boiler in front of him float into two in front of his eyes, the shovel in his hand slipped and fell to the ground. He fainted directly. Jing Li was next to him. She was so scared that she shouted, "Chong Lu fainted." Then, the supervisor directed Chow Shao and Jia Ming to carry Chong Lu out. Jing Li wanted to go out to see the situation, but she was glared at by the supervisor. "Don't you want to eat dinner tonight?" She immediately returned to her boiler and continued to work. Chong Lu was taken away by the other extras. Jia Ming quietly asked Chow Shao, "Did Chong Lu really faint or was he faking it?" Chow Shao looked at Chong Lu, who had already walked far away. "Whether he really fainted or faked it, he doesn't have the chance to kill us now." Jing Li waved her little shovel and busied herself in front of the boiler. She had never done this kind of physical labor before. Although the shovel was much lighter, it had already rubbed blisters on her delicate little hands. She kept wiping away the sweat that flowed into her eyes. It was so piercing that she couldn't open her eyes. Because she was shoveling coal, the black soot had already been smeared on her face along with her little hands. Her originally beautiful face was completely covered by the soot. At this time, Jing Li was the only one in the corner of the boiler in the factory. The supervisor walked around her with a stick. As long as she was slow, the stick would knock on the ground beside her. Jing Li couldn't even be lazy. Jing Li rolled her eyes and suddenly squatted on the ground. "I-oh, my stomach hurts. I need to go to the toilet." The supervisor saw that she didn't seem to be faking it. 5 minutes. If it's over, I'll deduct your pay." Jing Li was full of smiles and said yes to the supervisor. Then, she went out and asked the direction Chong Lu left in. She went straight there. Just as she thought, Chong Lu was carried by 2 people to a Joshua tree. He was given some water and medicine to relieve the heat. She walked forward and said to the 2 people sitting beside her, "I won't trouble you. I'll take care of him." The 2 of them looked at each other. They already had work on their hands. After a long time, they didn't know if they would have any food to eat at night. Of course, they were happy that someone was here to replace them. One of them even kindly reminded her, "Hurry up and go back to work when you wake up. Otherwise, you won't get paid at night." Jing Li looked at the 2 people who had walked away and then looked at Chong Lu, who was still unconscious. She took out the dagger from her waist and aimed it at Chong Li's chest, stabbing it down forcefully. At this moment, Chong Lu, who had fainted, suddenly opened his eyes wide. He looked at an illusory figure in front of him and a strong wind blew towards him. The alarm in his heart rang loudly and he rolled to the side. Jing Li's movements were even faster. When she saw that Chong Lu had actually woken up, she immediately put the dagger behind her back and smiled sweetly at Chong Lu. "Chong Lu, you're awake? Are you much better?" Chong Lu shook his dizzy head and looked at the double image in front of him. "So it's Jing Li. I thought someone wanted to kill me. How can that be? You must not have slept well last night and been frightened. In addition, the factory is so hot that you have this illusion. I just came to see how you are. How can I kill you? If you're better, let's go back together. Otherwise, we won't be able to eat our fill tonight." Chong Lu looked at Jing Li's peach blossom-like smile. Although his face was full of black coal, his eyes were bright and did not seem to be fake. "Let's go. I'm much better." Jing Li helped Chong Lu up and went back to the factory together. Qiao Xiao and Jia Ming, who returned to the factory before them, saw that Jing Li was not there. They felt strange and asked the supervisor. It turned out that Jing Li had a stomachache and went to the toilet. The two continued to work, but just as they shoveled a shovel of coal, Qiao Xiao suddenly stopped, and so did Jia Ming. The two looked at each other. Not good. After that, they threw down the shovel and rushed out. As soon as they rushed to the door, they saw Chong Lu and Jing Li walking in, talking and laughing. Chong Lu was still a little weak, but he seemed to be much better. Qiao Xiao and Jia Ming stopped at the same time and returned to their boiler without saying anything. The few of them finally earned enough work points before they got off work and got dinner. They really wolfed down the food. Qiao Xiao was originally a fast eater, but this time, it was gone in 2 or 3 mouthfuls. After eating, she remembered how Director Wong chewed and swallowed slowly yesterday. Jing Li quietly ran to Director Wong's side. "Director Wong, is there a place to take a bath here? I haven't washed for 2 days and my body is going to stink." "Think about it. Where would the workers of the gold rush take a bath?" Jing Li looked up and thought for a long time. "They should just boil some water to wash." Director Wong glanced at her. "You're really naive. If you wanted to take a bath at that time, you had to wait for the rain. As long as it rained, everyone took off their clothes and took a bath in this gold rush place. In fact, it wasn't really a bath. They just rinsed their bodies. The work of panning gold in their hands would not stop. That was gold." Jing Li opened her mouth wide. She could stuff an egg in her mouth. What about the people working in the factory? They were also waiting for the rain. It was more convenient for them because the factory was too hot, especially next to the boiler. They were all naked. If it rained, they would rush out directly. After playing in the rain, they would continue to work and be dry in a while. Originally, I wanted to let you guys reenact this scene, but now the interrogation is strict. If you guys don't wear clothes, then it won't be broadcasted. Moreover, it won't rain these few days. This is really the biggest regret of this filming." Jing Li really didn't know what to say after hearing this. She walked back silently. She hated the smell of sweat on her body. It really damaged her image. Qiao Xiao and the others had long expected this result. They all smiled bitterly and shook their heads. Chong Lu gnawed on the sandwich in his hand and glanced at Jing Li from time to time. Although he was fooled by Jing Li's smile just now, Chong Lu wondered why Jing Li suddenly cared so much about him. Didn't Jing Li quarrel with her because of Qiao Xiao before? Chapter 294. After dinner, several people received a notice from the director that for the filming tonight, they would sleep directly in the factory, and everyone was given a mat. Qiao Xiao looked at the mat that was as thin as a straw mat and shook his head secretly. As the prince of the devil world, he really experienced life. Even sleeping next to a pile of coal happened. Jing Li, who was spoiled since childhood, couldn't stand it even more. Not only could she not take a bath, but she also had to get together with a group of men to sleep. One could imagine how unspeakable the smell in the factory would be. Although the boiler had been extinguished, the residual heat of the day was still there, and it wandered aggressively throughout the room. How could people stand such a hot place? But Director Wong was just like them, sitting next to them with a camera, smiling and waiting for them to freely express themselves. The door of the factory was open, and a trace of cool air came in from the outside. It was much better at night than during the day. At first, several people couldn't sleep at all, and they were chatting about everything. Jingli slept directly at the door, and a cool breeze blew, making her feel better. Soon after, the heavy physical work during the day made several people tired and fell asleep. At this time, Jingli secretly got up and slipped outside alone. A few meters away from the factory, the toilet was around the corner. There was a faucet inside, which was Jing Li's goal. When the faucet was turned on, the water flowed directly to the ground. If one was not careful, they would splash all over their feet. There was not even a sink below, and the conditions were so simple that it made one's hair stand on end. But at this time, Jing Li could no longer care about this. For her, having water was the rarest thing in the world. She pulled the towel from her clothes that she used to wipe her sweat during the day and wiped her whole body with the faucet. A burst of coolness passed through the skin to the bottom of her heart. It was so comfortable. The surface of her body dropped 5 degrees in an instant. Jing Li carefully wiped the soot on her face, and a beautiful little face returned to its white color. She pursed her lips and put on her clothes again. A smell of sweat entered her nose. There was no way, she could only endure another day. Jing Li returned to the factory and secretly woke Chonglu up. "I found a place to take a bath. Come and help me." Chonglu was shocked and immediately woke up. Jing Li put her index finger to her mouth and shushed him. Then, she waved her hand and called Chonglu out. After a while, Jing Li came back. She called Jiaming again, and the two of them walked out of the factory in a crouching manner. When she entered the factory for the 3rd time, she was ready to call Xiao Xiao out, but after looking around, she found that he was nowhere to be found. Where did Xiao Xiao go? Yanran walked along the barbed wire fence and soon came to a depression formed by piles of stones. The area of this depression was very large. The gravel that extended down from the mountain formed a stone depression that spanned 10 meters across and continued to extend into the distance. Yanran uses her psychic sense to explore, but she can't see the end of the basin. She wants to extend her psychic sense to the end, but she can't feel the end of the basin. There was only one path here, and it seemed that they could only continue to walk along this stone depression. Yanran didn't think about it. As she walked, she released her psychic sense to feel the faint human aura. In the whole area, only this place seems to have human aura. Yanran flew directly on the stone, occasionally stopping to observe carefully. She flew for nearly half an hour and thought that she should be very far away. Unexpectedly, when she looked back, she returned to the starting point of the depression. And that trace of human aura was still faint and far away from her. Yanran clenched the little star on her chest, but there was no movement at this time. If it's not a formation, then what is it? Xiao Xiao hadn't slept for long when he suddenly felt a strange movement. The aura of the demon realm suddenly drilled into his nostrils and mixed with the heat in the room. It was strange and hot. This breath seemed to be calling him. He looked at Director Wang, who was sleeping next to him. Only the camera in the room was running constantly. He used a devil aura to block the camera lens for a moment, and then he went out of the room. When he went out, he found that Jing Li was no longer on the mat. When he went out, the devil aura became stronger, like a hand calling him to go in a certain direction. Xiao Xiao followed the aura forward, passing through several stone piles, crossing 2 soil slopes, and finally came to the place where the devil aura was the strongest. Xiao Xiao looked into the distance and saw a tall Joshua tree in front of him. Xiao Xiao recognized that this was the place where he found Chonglu in the morning. He looked around and found that the devil chi was coming from the pile of rocks. Xiao Xiao also released her own devil chi. Sure enough, after a while, the rocks seemed to be pushed away from the ground. The rocks that were originally on the surface of the ground spread to both sides, and then a humanoid monster rose from the ground. It was slightly bigger than Xiao Xiao, with a green face and fangs. Its long hair was disheveled, as if it had no nutrition and was draped over its entire back. Its whole body was muscular, and only a piece of rag was wrapped around its waist. It faced Xiao Xiao and let out a devil roar, as if it was spitting fire from its mouth. Chow Chow released more devil aura and pressure, and the monster's roar was instantly restrained. The pressure brought by the blood made it involuntarily want to surrender. Chow Chow saw the monster kneeling directly in front of him, its whole head crawling on the ground, and its weed-like hair fell between the cracks of the stone. "Who are you? Why are you here?" Chow Chow asked in surprise. "I am a devil beast that wandered outside of the devil realm. After many years of cultivation, I turned into a human." "May I ask who you are?" the monster asked humbly. "I am the prince of the devil realm." "So it is your highness that has arrived." This lowly one has eyes but did not recognize Mount Tai. "I hope your highness will forgive me. Let me ask you, 2 people were here in the middle of the night yesterday. What happened?" "First, a man and a woman walked over. The woman took out a dagger and killed him. The other person was carried over by another group of people and placed on the side. Then why did the other person feel that the stone under him had edges?" That is because I walk around below, and the stones on the surface are moved by me." "Oh, so that's why. It seems that everything is clear now. The killer must be Jing Li." The director's arrangement is really unexpected. "What do you usually do here?" "Because I am here, people who come here are all eaten by me." "So slowly, no one comes here. This place is also called the Death Valley." The monster answered matter-of-factly. Chow Chow couldn't say anything. After all, there were many low-level monsters in the devil realm that ate people. "Why didn't you eat that person yesterday?" "Generally speaking, I only eat real dead people. Although the person yesterday was killed, he didn't even bleed. He was just pretending to be dead, so I didn't eat him." "Well, it seems that all of this was arranged by the director." "Do you want to go back to the devil realm?" Chow Chow still felt that the people of the devil realm living outside were a bit miserable. "Can I?" The monster suddenly became excited. "Yes, it is better for the people of the devil realm to return to their homeland." "Thank you, Your Highness. Thank you, Your Highness." After saying that, the monster kowtowed on the ground. Chow Chow directly made the monster sit cross-legged on the ground. He gathered the devil energy into his palm and took out the totem on his chest. The totem flew into the air, and a golden light enveloped the monster. Chow Chow silently chanted in his heart. He poured the devil energy into his palm, and then raised his palm into the air. Bursts of vigorous energy flowed towards the center of the formation. "Ah Chow, stop." A clear girl's voice made Chow Chow immediately stop. He turned his head in surprise. "Aran." The monster immediately shrank back. The girl's strength was even more terrifying. While the two of them weren't paying attention, the monster slid back into the stone. Chow Chow ignored the monster and directly went forward to hug Yenran. When he got close, he realized that he was stinking. He stepped back again. "Sorry, Yenran. I've been filming here for the past 2 days. My body is dirty. Did you come here specially to see me?" Chow Zhao's eyes were full of light, illuminating everything in the darkness. Yenran went forward with a smile and took out a tissue to wipe his face. "How did you end up like this? You're not handsome anymore." Her voice was full of laughter. It was a pleasant surprise to see Chow Zhao here. Ever since the two of them got back together, they were really sweet. Every time she thought of Chow Zhao, Yenron's heart would soften. Chow Zhao looked at Yenron's dirty eyes, but she didn't mind at all. His heart also softened. "Yenran, I have to go back and take a good bath. I've been here for the past 2 days. It's really too dirty. Don't wipe it. You'll get your hands dirty later. But don't worry, I'll definitely be as handsome as before." Chow Zhao smiled and raised his right hand to swear. "Why did you come here to film the show? Why didn't you tell me before?" Yenran pulled Chow Zhao and walked slowly along the stone pit. The monsters in the pit watched as the two gradually walked away. They did not dare to call out, and could only watch helplessly. There was some grievance in their eyes, as if they were abandoned little beasts. "I originally wanted to give you a surprise. After the show, I would fly to your side. I didn't expect you to come to see me first. Qiao Xiao really wanted to hang on Yanran's body. At this time, he especially hated that his image was ruined by Director Wang. Yanran pursed her lips and smiled. It's really fate. Then she stopped smiling and said in a serious tone, this time I went to M country to investigate new progress. I found Minister Tian, but it's very different from what we originally thought. Oh. What's the matter? Minister Tian is not the mastermind behind the scenes. The real bad guy is the current leader, Zhou Jiutian. He and the Eastern aristocratic family did all kinds of bad things. They desperately tried to accumulate money and put the blame on Minister Tian. I just found Minister Tian the day before yesterday. Only then did I know that he was living a miserable life. At the same time, he was monitored with other people. He worked hard every day and lived an inhuman life. That scumbag. Yanran, I'll help you get rid of Zhou Jiutian. Qiao Xiao was finally relieved. His Yanran recognized the nature of the leader. His potential love rival was solved. He really wanted to laugh 3 times. Yanran's heart was full of righteousness, but Qiao Xiao only had Yanran in his heart. Chapter 295. I heard that Department Head Tian was brought here, so I followed him, Yanran explained to Qiao Xiao. So it wasn't for him. Qiao Xiao wondered how could there be such a coincidence. Where is Department Head Tian now? I'm looking for him, but this area is too big. That's why I told you to stop. I followed this monster's aura all the way here. I saw you setting up a formation, so I wanted to see if he could help. Qiao Xiao suddenly realized that he had hit the jackpot. Wait here, Yanran. I'll call him out. Qiao Xiao walked back to the rock and released a burst of demonic energy. He shouted, "Come out." The green-faced, fanged monster slowly pushed the rock away and crawled out. Its body was slippery and covered in mucus. It glanced at Qiao Xiao and Yanran and shrank back. It knelt down and kowtowed in fear. Your Highness, what can I do for you? Qiao Xiao looked at such a big monster, but it was still afraid. He couldn't help but feel strange. What are you afraid of? The monster pointed at Yanran. Her righteous aura makes me afraid. Qiao Xiao looked back at Yanran. She stood there like a flower on a high mountain. Her elegant and refined temperament didn't seem like a mortal's. He proudly said to the monster, "This is the Crown Princess. Hurry up and bow." The monster was shocked. No wonder she was so close to the Crown Prince. He quickly knelt down and kowtowed. "Greetings, Crown Princess. I'm a rock monster from the demon realm. You can give me orders." Yanran blushed slightly at the title of Crown Princess, but she calmed down immediately. She said to the monster, "Help me find a lone person around here. If he's in danger, help me save him and bring him here." The monster heard that. Understood. I'll go immediately. Then, he drilled into the crack between the rocks. The rocks on the ground began to roll, and the shape and position of the rocks changed again. It turned out that the mystery that had been plaguing the scientific community was actually a monster from the devil realm. Yanran finally understood the mystery of the death stalks. Yanran, don't go. After you find him, wait for me for a day. My program will be finished tomorrow. I'll go back with you, okay? Qiao Xiao pulled Yanran to sit on a big rock. All right, when I get back, I'll have to investigate Zhou Jiutian's situation overseas. Also, Xiao, can you help me find out the exact flow of the overseas account? Of course. I originally wanted to investigate it within the borders, but due to the many restrictions and barriers within the borders, it's very inconvenient to investigate things. However, I believe it will be much more convenient outside the borders. Qiao Xiao readily agreed. I thought so too. Thank you for your hard work, Xiao. Yanran tapped Qiao Xiao's dirty nose with her finger. Qiao Xiao looked at Yanran dotingly. Aran, I'll do anything for you. I won't hesitate to go through water and tread on fire. I really don't want you to work so hard. There are some burdens that I can bear, just leave them to me. Yenran looked at the boy whose eyes were full of light. His sincerity towards her made her heart feel touched. The two of them snuggled up next to the stone depression, whispering to each other. Xiao Xiao told Yenran about what had happened to him in the past 2 days. Yenran admired Director Wang to the point of prostrating herself on the ground. He's completely dedicated himself to the show, and you're his sacrificial lambs. Xiao Xiao smiled. That's not entirely true. I predict that this program will definitely be popular when it airs. Now that I know who the murderer is, I just need to find a way to catch him tomorrow. Yenran, it might not be easy to find someone in such a big place in such a short time. How about I take you to sleep for a while? I still have to go back to the recording site. Otherwise, it'll be hard to explain my disappearance. Yenran thought about it. She was tired after a hard day. It was already midnight. Xiao Xiao took Yenran directly to his tent. He knew that today's filming was in the factory. He pointed to his tent and let Yenran sleep in it. Xiao Xiao looked at his dirty appearance again. He originally wanted to get into the tent, but he abruptly stopped. He looked up to the sky and sighed. He pulled Yenran's tent and immediately returned to the factory. He lay down on his original mat and fell asleep. Not good, not good. Early in the morning, before the sky was bright, an extra rushed in from outside the door. Something happened, something happened. Everyone in the room was woken up. They all looked at the person with sleepy eyes. Looking at the dirty appearance of the extra, he anxiously pointed outside and said, "Someone died again. Everyone, go and take a look." The word "dead" made everyone stand up from the cushions and scramble to squeeze out of the door. Xiao Xiao immediately looked around and found that the left and right sides were empty. He came back late last night, so he didn't care that the room was dark. He only remembered that when he went out, only Jingli was not there. He had a bad feeling in his heart and ran out with the crowd. Sure enough, he found 2 people lying on the ground in the open space at the door. There was a dagger in their bodies. It was Jia Ming and Chong Lu. Xiao Xiao turned back to look at Jingli. He didn't expect her to turn back to look at him. Before Xiao Xiao could say anything, Jingli had already pointed at him and shouted, "The murderer is here, the murderer is here." Xiao Xiao killed them. Now, there were only 2 of them left. The other party already knew who the murderer was, but Jingli made the first move. Everyone's eyes were like searchlights focused on Xiao Xiao. "Jingli, stop acting. You are the murderer," Xiao Xiao said calmly. "When I came back last night, the 3 of you weren't there. If you didn't kill them, who else could it be?" Jingli no longer looked like a love-struck fool. She pointed at Xiao Xiao fiercely. "When I went out yesterday, you were the only one who wasn't there. Stop pretending." Xiao Xiao didn't care at all. At this moment, 2 extras stood up and said, "Indeed, the 3 of them weren't there yesterday. Jingli was. I saw Xiao Xiao walk out of the house with my own eyes. After a long time, he was the only one who came back. Moreover, Jingli is a weak woman. How could she kill these 2 men?" Xiao Xiao took a look. F***CK, there were witnesses. Xiao Xiao really couldn't defend himself. He couldn't drag Yenran over to testify, right? The matter reached a stalemate. 2 people came up and tied Xiao Xiao to the pillar at the door. Xiao Xiao was speechless. It seemed like this was arranged by the director. He could only cooperate and express his grievance of being wronged to the extreme. Xiao Xiao shouted, "You've wronged me. Jingli is the murderer." However, he didn't expect that no one would pay attention to him. Everyone else went to work, leaving Xiao Xiao alone to be tied to the pillar, receiving the heat of the sun. The sun was getting bigger and bigger. Xiao Xiao felt that the water in his body was almost drained. When he woke up in the morning, he didn't even have a sip of water. Jia Ming and Chong Li's bodies on the ground had already been moved away. He was the only one in the entire open space, basking in the sun miserably. Xiao Xiao knew that it wasn't easy for him to win this game. Only when Jingli made a move on him, he had to catch her in front of everyone. If there was no witness, killing Jing Li secretly wouldn't count. The rules of this game made him so aggrieved that he could only bask in the sun on the pillar. Qiao Xiao finally began to envy Jia Ming and Chong Lu, who received their lunchboxes in advance. They could finally drink water and eat normally. Even if it was more aggrieved in the show, at least they didn't have to suffer. At this moment, Jing Li was still shoveling coal in the factory. She took a small shovel and put it into the boiler bit by bit. Her mind was spinning quickly. How could she get rid of Qiao Xiao on the pillar? The rules of the game were that she could secretly kill others, but others had to catch her openly. Therefore, she had to take advantage of the fact that no one was around to stab him. The knife designed by the director was also very strange. When she stabbed Jia Ming and Chong Lu with the knife, the blade directly retracted, and the glue on the handle popped out. It directly stuck the dagger to his clothes. However, when the dagger stabbed into Chong Li's back last night, Chong Lu felt it. He turned around in surprise and looked at her in fear. Then, he threw a heavy punch at her. If Jing Li hadn't let go of the dagger and fell back, her face would have been split open. She was so frightened that she sat on the ground and covered her face. When Chong Lu realized that the dagger on his body was fake, he finally understood that he had lost this game. "I didn't expect you to be an assassin, Jing Li." This was the last sentence he could say in the show. As for brother Jia Ming, after he accidentally fell for the trap, Jing Li used the same method to stab him in the back. His reaction was still relatively calm. He just fell forward and died. It seemed like brother Ming was already aware of this. Everything went smoothly last night. Jing Li touched the dagger on her body and then looked at the shovel in her hand. She really couldn't shovel anymore. It was better to end the game as soon as possible. She directly told the supervisor that she needed to go to the washroom and then went out. In the open space in front of the factory, only Qiao Xiao was tied to a pillar. On the right side of the factory, a few people were moving back and forth, and a little further away, a group of people were panning for gold. She first walked to the side and stole a bottle of mineral water. Then, with a face full of smiles, she walked in front of Qiao Xiao. "Brother Qiao, you didn't drink water this morning, right? Look at how hot the sun is. Let me feed you some water." Jing Li didn't wait for Qiao Xiao's reply. She directly opened the bottle cap and was about to feed Qiao Xiao water. When Jing Li walked over, Qiao Xiao was already vigilant. "Why? Do you want to kill me? Look at the people around. You can't do it." "Of course. Brother Qiao, I won't kill you. I'm just here to give you some water." Qiao Xiao looked at her suspiciously and saw that she was seriously giving him the water. He did not stand on ceremony. His body had long been as dry as a desert, and even a little bit of sweet dew made him shed tears of gratitude. Jing Li raised her arm, tried her best to tiptoe, and stuffed the mouth of the bottle into Qiao Xiao's mouth. Qiao Xiao raised his head and began to gulp down the water. At this moment, Jing Li's other hand had secretly taken out a dagger. She used her clothes and body to cover it. Chapter 296. The mineral water flowed down Qiao Xiao's lips. Qiao Xiao's Adam's apple moved up and down. Jing Li was a little stunned. Even drinking water was so sexy that she really couldn't do it. But this was not the time for her to be infatuated. She saw that Qiao Xiao was drinking happily, and his mouth was completely blocked by the mineral water. She expected that he should not be able to make a sound now. With a fierce force, the dagger was aimed at the back of Qiao Xiao's waist. In fact, Qiao Xiao had been vigilant for a long time. He leaned his waist slightly to the side and avoided the dagger. Then, the guard seal was automatically activated. "Ah!" A blood-curdling scream came out from Jing Li's mouth. She originally thought that her sneak attack was already in the bag, but she didn't expect that an external force would directly overturn her. Everyone was attracted by this scream and saw that Jing Li was still holding a dagger in her hand. Qiao Xiao immediately shouted, "He's the murderer. He's trying to kill me." Director Wang clapped from a distance. He personally untied the rope for Qiao Xiao. "I didn't expect that, handsome. In the end, it was you who won the game." I thought that Jing Li had already won. Qiao Xiao finally breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. If he didn't have the guard seal just now, he would have fallen into Jing Li's trap. Director, your design is really too deceptive. We've been tormented to death these 2 days. Jia Ming and Chong Lu also came over with the director. Jia Ming patted Qiao Zhao's shoulder. I didn't expect that it really wasn't you. I guessed wrong. I'm sorry, brother. Jing Li also got up from the ground and rubbed her arm. Brother Qiao, you used too much strength just now. I almost couldn't get up. Chong Lu gave Jing Li a thumbs up. I didn't expect that, Jing Li. You acted so well. I didn't guess it at all. If it weren't for Qiao Zhao's big reversal, the final winner of this game would have been you. The director was overjoyed and wrapped up. All the cast members let out a long sigh of relief. The recording of this program almost made everyone lose a layer of skin. However, when they saw such a realistic performance, they had a different opinion of Director Wang in their hearts. People who pursue perfection can really come up with the best work. The whole shooting was finally over. Qiao Xiao and the others took a good shower and changed back into their own clothes, restoring their handsome looks. Only then did Jing Li return to her original nature. She put on a charming and cute look. Don't hate me. It's all the director's arrangement. At that time, when the director secretly told me, I was shocked. I have never killed anyone. Chong Lu, please don't hate me. When I stabbed you with the dagger, my hand was shaking. Jia Ming walked up and teased Jing Li. When you were trying to kill me, I saw that your hand was already very steady. Jing Li stuck out her tongue. Brother Ming, you went easy on me at that time, right? Otherwise, I don't think I could have succeeded so easily. No, I'm too tired. Brother Ming is old. I can't compete with you young people. In the end, Jing Li walked up to Qiao Xiao. I'm sorry, Brother Qiao. You are my idol. I actually stabbed my idol. I don't think I can forgive myself. At this time, Qiao Xiao felt that Jing Li was cute. He said seriously, as a fan, you are very competent. As a killer, you are also very professional. In the end, Jing Li broke down in a second. Brother Qiao, don't laugh at me. The few of them bickered with each other and finally ended this very difficult program. After suffering together, their relationship became even better. Qiao Xiao directly waved to Director Wang and the others and said that he still wanted to continue to feel the mystery of Death Valley. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. Yanran saw that Qiao Xiao had recovered. She smiled and asked, Did you win? Qiao Xiao hugged Yanran and kissed her on the cheek. Of course. Don't you know who your brother Qiao is? In the sky above Death Valley, the sun had already reached the top of their heads. It was like a fireball, burning fiercely, constantly pouring excessive light and heat on Qiao Xiao and Yanran. The whole valley seemed to be burning. The earth became hot, and all the scenery seemed to be added a layer of white filter. Under the reflection of the bare stones, it was particularly dazzling. The heat from the steaming soles of their shoes made the two people walking in the valley extremely uncomfortable. Now Qiao Xiao knew that Director Wang had chosen a relatively ventilated place. Compared with where they were now, it was at least 10 degrees lower. Qiao Xiao took out a shirt from his bag and put it on Yanran's head. He hugged Yanran's whole body in his arms, trying not to let the sun shine on her body. Xiao, it seems that these 2 days have been really hard on you. I didn't expect it to be so hot here. Yanran turned to look at Qiao Xiao from inside the collar. The eyes of the person next to her were full of love. As long as she said a good word, it would make him happy for a long time. Ran, I know you care about me the most. Xiao, you love me so much. What will you do in the future? You can't be like this. There is someone else in your life besides me. I will worry about you. If something happens to me, I'm afraid you won't be able to bear it. Qiao Xiao hugged her tightly. Yanran, I won't allow you to say that. You will be fine. I will protect you well. Yanran sighed. It seemed that she still needed to divert Qiao Zhao's attention. He couldn't put all his thoughts on her. She had seen on the internet before how to divert a lover's attention. It seemed that the first way to divert a lover's attention was to have a child. Yenron's face turned red. She glanced at Xiao Zhao's body and hugged Xiao Zhao's tight waist. There was not a trace of fat and it felt very good. Yenran gently stroked it twice. Xiao Zhao immediately looked at her with a deep gaze. Ran, did you miss me? The two of them just happened to walk into a space with a stone depression. Xiao Zhao pulled Yenran into it. The protruding stone above blocked part of the sunlight. Xiao Zhao pulled back the clothes on top of his head and said mischievously, Ran, as long as you need me, I'm always here. After that, the affectionate kiss gently fell. Yenran was tempted by Xiao Zhao's eyes. The hand that was originally hugging Xiao Zhao's thin waist slowly moved up and rubbed Xiao Zhao's back. Then, it gradually moved up and hooked Xiao Zhao's neck, pulling him in front of her. Xiao Zhao's lips always had a kind of magical power, making Yenran intoxicated, unable to stop. At this time, her reason was always replaced by impulse, and sobriety was always replaced by intoxication. The two kissed deeper and deeper, so deep that they couldn't breathe, so thick that they were confused. Xiao Zhao's hand had already involuntarily drilled into his clothes. His smooth skin was covered with fine beads of sweat. Xiao Zhao spontaneously understood that this was a symbol of Yenron's feelings for him. He became more and more excited, and his lips deepened. Yenron's waist had already clearly bent back into an arc. Xiao Zhao protected her bent waist with one hand and supported Yenron's neck with the other hand. He leaned against the wall behind them, vowing to press Yenron's entire body into his body. Woo! Yenran suddenly cried out, and her body suddenly shrank back. At this time, Xiao Zhao discovered that Yenran had accidentally pressed against the wall. He quickly let go of her small mouth. What's wrong, Yenran? Yenron's back was soft and she said, This wall is so hot. Xiao Zhao reached out and touched the wall behind them. Wow, the temperature was as high as 50 or 60 degrees. I'm sorry, Yenran. I didn't pay attention just now. Quick, let me see if I'm scalded. Xiao Zhao pulled Yenron's shoulder away, and saw an entire red skin that was abnormally red. It was obviously darker than the snow-white skin next to it. This made Xiao Zhao's heart ache. He quickly took out a bottle of mineral water. Yenran, this place is hot. You must quickly wash it with water. Come, lie on your side on my lap. Xiao Zhao sat down on a stone next to him. Wow, the heat on the stone directly transmitted to his buttocks. He quickly put his bag under it and let Yenran lie on her side on his lap. He untied Yenron's clothes on one side of her shoulder and poured mineral water on her. What a picture of a beauty's shoulder! Yenron's shoulder was soft and boneless. Her white and red skin was drenched by water. The water droplets flowed down her skin in all directions and hid in a place where they could not be seen. Xiao Zhao's throat moved up and down, and his eyes became deeper. He lovingly rubbed Yenron's shoulder, helping her relieve the discomfort caused by the burning heat. Yenran turned her head and looked at such a gentle Xiao Zhao. Her eyes were full of happiness. She took the initiative to pull down Xiao Zhao's head, took a sip of water on her sexy thin lips, and said coquettishly, Xiao, don't worry. I'm not a porcelain doll. Ran, you will always be the most precious porcelain in my eyes. As white as jade and as bright as a mirror. Yenron's eyes moved and she smiled. Her eyes were like hooks that circled Xiao Zhao's body. She pointed her finger at his thin lips and said, You only know how to flirt. Ran, I only flirt with you. Only you can see this side of me. Everything I have belongs to you. The two of them whispered sweet nothings to each other. The sun blushed and the heat emitted was more than enough. The whole mountain seemed to be burning. In the big steamer of the whole mountain, Xiao Zhao and Yenran seemed to have a fire in their hearts. It rose from the bottom to the top and spread through the 7 meridians of the body. There was an invisible rope of desire that wanted to pull the two of them closer. Ran, I want to go back to the hotel. Xiao Zhao whispered in Yenron's ear. Yenran hugged him back and said, Be good. Let's go back after we're done. The two of them finally walked to the stone depression from yesterday. They found that the shape of the stones today was different from yesterday. Xiao Xiao used his devil energy to summon the monster under the depression. After a while, the monster crawled out of the crack of the stone. Your Highness, Crown Princess, how is it? Did you find him? Xiao Xiao asked. I found him. He was on the top of the mountain opposite and almost fell. I pulled him in time, but he fainted. He must have fainted from hunger. I brought him back and hid him under the tree over there. Yanran looked back. There was indeed a middle-aged man's figure under the tree. It was Minister Tian. Chapter 297. Yanran quickly went forward and checked Department Head Tian's breathing. When she found that he was still breathing, she felt relieved and nodded at Xiao Xiao. You have made a great contribution. When you return to the demon realm, you can ask my father for a reward. This is my token, keep it well. Xiao Xiao pulled out a strand of hair and handed it to the monster. This strand of hair has my demon chi. Show it to my father and he will immediately know that this is mine. Please tell him that I am doing well in the human world and that I am about to get married. I hope that he can give me his blessings in the demon realm. The green-faced monster tied the strand of hair to one of its own and kowtowed to Xiao Xiao and Yanran a few more times in gratitude. Xiao Xiao did not delay any longer. He took out the totem and released a golden light that enveloped the monster. After chanting a spell, a golden light shot up into the sky and the monster disappeared in the blink of an eye. Ah Xiao, I didn't expect you to have subdued the monsters here. You have also made Death Valley a safe place in the future. This place can no longer be called Death Valley. Maybe because you are filming a variety show here, it will become an extremely foggy tourist spot. Yanran said with emotion. I hope so. I didn't expect that there would be people from the demon realm like me in the human world. Yanran walked over and pinched his face. She pouted and said playfully, It's just that you are much more handsome than him. Xiao Xiao was happy. He carried Department Head Tian on his back and flew through the valley with Yanran. Soon, they arrived at the place where Little Six parked the car. Little Six was hiding in the car to enjoy the air conditioner. When he saw Yanran and the others, he was overjoyed. Not only did he find them, but he also brought back Xiao Xiao. Little Six joked, Brother Xiao, I didn't expect you to be here too. I was wondering if Sister Yanran went to find Department Head Tian or you. Xiao Xiao looked proud and looked at Yanran with a doting expression. This is the fate between me and Yanran. Xiao Lu choked and accidentally ate a mouthful of dog food. Their mood on the way back was very different from when they came. Department Head Tian was placed in the trunk of the car. Xiao Xiao pulled Yanran to sit in the back seat. He said, Yanran can lie down for a while if she's sleepy later. Little Six was prepared to be fed with dog food all the way back to a city. After returning to the city, Yanran asked Little Six to send Minister Tian to the hospital immediately. After he recovered, she would take him back to Huaxia directly. She and Xiao Xiao had to do further investigation in City A. Minister Zhou, Tian Qing has already been thrown into Death Valley. I knocked him out. The temperature there is very high. He shouldn't be able to live for more than 2 days. Did you see him breathe his last with your own eyes? An emotionless voice came from the phone. The pressure was heavy, and it was the coldness of a person who had been in power for a long time. The person on the other end of the phone was already sweating. I left him on a mountaintop. It was too hot there, so I came back first. Trash, is this how you do things? Zhou Zhouqian's voice suddenly rose an octave. Yes. I'll go back and check right away. The hand of the person who answered the phone trembled and the phone almost fell to the ground. After Zhou Zhouqian hung up the phone, he had a bad feeling in his heart. Even if Department Head Tian didn't say anything, Yanran was so smart. She must be able to connect to something. He immediately applied to go abroad for investigation. He wanted to go back to the city where he used to stay and kill everything in the cradle. After such a thing happened, the strategy that he had made to deal with Yen Ran was completely useless. After such a long time, he still couldn't get into Yen Ran's heart. This really made him feel frustrated. Now that the matter was exposed, the only thing he could do was to save his own life first. He didn't want to think about anything else. He sent a string of codes to a secret phone. Before he went to Country M, he hoped that they could help him solve the problem in advance. After Qiao Xiao and Yen Ran returned to the hotel, they immediately set up a full set of equipment. Qiao Xiao was in charge of the implementation, and Yen Ran was on the side looking for clues. The two of them further tracked the flow of funds through the internet. At the same time, they also tracked Zhou Jiutian's information abroad. This tracking took 5 days and 5 nights. Yen Ran, don't waste time with me. Go and sleep for a while. The dark circles under your eyes are almost as big as a panda's. Qiao Xiao used the devil qi to remove the dark circles on Yen Ran's face. However, he knew that this was only a superficial improvement. The real fatigue had already seeped into Yen Ran's eyes. I'm afraid that we won't have enough time. Department Head Tian's matter has already alerted them. I'm worried that before we have the results of the investigation, Zhou Jiutian will take action. Zhou Jiutian will take action soon. I don't think we can hide our whereabouts. Department Head Tian has already woken up, but Little Six said that he can't return to the country. He doesn't have any documents at all. So we're in a race against time. The only thing we can do is to gather evidence as soon as possible and ask the government to come forward and extradite Department Head Tian. But Yen Ran, isn't Department Head Zhou your only direct superior? How are you going to get the country's top officials to pay attention to you? This is also the problem that I've been struggling with. If my direct superior was a good person, then all our reporting channels would be smooth. However, I didn't expect him to be the biggest pest. In that case, we have to find a way to get past him. So we have to gather more evidence. All the chain of evidence needs to be complete. We also need to have a specific amount of money for the country's losses. Otherwise, people will think that you're just writing a story. No one will believe you, and they'll say that you're making false accusations. Then we have to find the key person. This is just like filing a petition in ancient times. We have to find an honest and upright person who is willing to believe us. At the same time, he has to be able to reach the heavenly court. Yen Ran and Qiao Xiao spoke tirelessly and analyzed in a serious manner. This Bao Qing Tian is not easy to find. Qiao Xiao also knew Yen Ran's difficulties. So do you think I dare to rest? But Yen Ran, rest is for the sake of fighting better. If your body collapses, who will file a petition to the heavenly court? Qiao Xiao's goal was to let Yen Ran sleep. I'm fine, Xiao. Let me look at it for a while. Qiao Xiao looked at the running program. He could only wait now. The program had been written, and all that was left was to wait for the final result. The security measures in America were indeed very strong. In some places, there were hundreds of thousands of ways to crack the code. However, he had to crack not just one, but hundreds or thousands of ways. He had to try and make mistakes one by one. He looked at Yen Ran, who was seriously reading the information beside him. Her increasingly thin shoulders were straight, just like her own pride. She persisted in her own beliefs, wholeheartedly devoted herself to her career, and worked hard for the sake of humanity. Qiao Xiao sighed. It seemed that he could only rely on his shamelessness to make her rest. Qiao Xiao walked directly behind Yen Ran and reached out to cover Yen Ran's eyes. Then, he whispered in her ear, Ran, can you feel sorry for me? I'm so sleepy. Yen Ran pulled down the hand in front of her eyes and kissed his palm. Good boy. Go to sleep for a while. No, I can't sleep alone. I want you to accompany me. Qiao Xiao said coquettishly. Yen Ran sighed and rubbed Qiao Xiao's head. Xiao, I still want to look at it for a while. Go to sleep by yourself, okay? Qiao Xiao rolled his eyes and directly put his hand under Yen Ran's armpit. His fingers moved randomly, causing Yen Ran to immediately laugh. Xiao, don't make trouble. Then lie down with me for a while. When I fall asleep, you can get up. If you don't agree, I won't stop. Xiao Xiao directly acted shamelessly. Yanran also laughed until tears flowed down her face. She had to compromise. Okay. I'll lie down with you for a while. Just a while. Seeing that his plan had succeeded, Xiao Xiao snickered twice. He carried Yanran directly to the big bed and began to help Yanran take off her clothes. Yanran immediately stopped him. I still have to get up later. I won't take it off. But Xiao Xiao was not willing to stop. You're wearing so much. How can I sleep? I have to hug you. Just like that, Yanran was removed by Xiao Xiao and wrapped into the quilt. Xiao Xiao directly wrapped his limbs around Yanran. His goal was to let Yanran sleep, so he naturally would not do anything. Soon, he let out a steady breath. Yanran originally wanted to secretly get up, but seeing that Xiao Xiao was hugging her so tightly that she could not move, she could only close her eyes. Sleepiness hit her, and she quickly fell asleep. After a while, Xiao Xiao half narrowed his eyes and stole a glance at Yanran. Seeing that she had already fallen asleep, the corners of Xiao Xiao's mouth curled up, and he fell asleep in satisfaction. Just like that, the two of them stayed in the hotel for a full 10 days, organizing the newly obtained evidence day and night. Yanran's eternal heaven diagram had now been changed to a tree branch with Zhou Jiuqian as the head. Xiao Xiao looked at the results of Yanran's work in admiration. He really did not know how her brain was developed. He had the world's #1 spiritual skill, which was equivalent to having a cheat system. But Yanran completely relied on her small brain to piece together such a large spiderweb-like diagram. Originally, the information that Xiao Xiao gave Yanran was scattered. He did not know how she was able to string together a person, a line, or a matter, to form a main line in the midst of all the complexity. Xiao Xiao gave Yanran a thumbs up, hugged her, and kissed her a few times. Ran, you were born to be a queen. The two of them found a few key locations. Yanran said that she wanted to go to the site to investigate if her analysis and guess were correct. The first stop was that casino. The final flow of all the funds was concentrated in an underground casino in the city center of a city. Yanran checked the location, and it was in a hotel in the northeast corner of a city. After the two of them disguised themselves as tourists, they put on makeup on their faces and changed their appearance a little. They walked out of the hotel that they had stayed in for 10 days and prepared to explore at night. Xiao Xiao wore a Hawaiian-style shirt, like a coconut tree swaying in front of Yanran. His originally radiant face was even more vibrant and lively under the colorful contrast. Yanran directly put a layer of black powder on his face. Xiao, you're too dazzling. I'm worried that we'll be targeted as soon as we enter. Chapter 298. Yanran's worries were not unfounded. As soon as the two of them left the hotel, they were followed. That person was the person in charge of dealing with Department Head Tian. When Department Head Tian's body was not found in Death Valley, he knew that something had happened. According to other people's descriptions, he followed the clues and drew a portrait of Yanran. Through a series of technical methods, he found the last place where Yanran was seen, and then waited there. Just when he felt hopeless, he finally saw Yanran walk out of the hotel. Beside her was a Hawaiian coconut tree. It was quite good-looking, but it was a bit dark. It looked like a mixed-race person of Asian and American descent. Don't look back, it seems like someone is following us. As soon as they left the hotel, Yanran felt the tail behind them. Xiao Xiao pretended as if nothing had happened and got into a taxi with Yanran. He glanced in the rearview mirror and sure enough, another car was slowly following them. Should we get rid of him? No, it's just a clue. Let him follow us and catch him when we come back. Xiao Xiao immediately leaned back in the back seat, crossed his legs, and lazily looked at the scenery outside. The car quickly took them through the bustling streets. After driving for about half an hour, they arrived outside a magnificent hotel. At the entrance of the hotel, there was a sculpture plaza and a musical fountain. A pair of artists performing bronze figures stood in the middle. Their every movement seemed to lack lubrication. There was also a bronze figure that tilted its body to an exaggerated angle and remained motionless. At this time, fountains of various sizes were dancing up and down with the rhythm of the music. Colorful lights shone on the fountains, creating a strange and bizarre world. The car drove directly into the entrance of the hall. The doorman directly went to the door to help open the door and handed Yen Ran a rose. The service is not bad. Chow Chow gave the doorman a thumbs up and took out a full bill and handed it to him. The doorman happily thanked him. The glass walls of the hotel seemed to be plated with a layer of gold, reflecting the distant neon lights under the night light. The dancing notes accompanied the musical fountain at the door, playing a pleasant tune. Entering the hall, it was as if he had entered a spacious theater. The design of the nearly 5-story building created a domed feeling, luxurious and grand. Coupled with the exquisite murals, it was as if he had walked into an ancient Egyptian palace. Chow Chow expressed his intention, and the staff immediately led the two of them to the entrance of the casino. They originally thought that it would be an open door. But when you got closer, you realized that the entire passage had unknowingly placed you in the casino atmosphere. There were many burly men in black suits and white earphones around them. There were people of all races, and there was also a row of tall and flirtatious foreign women serving as hostesses. Chow Zhao's eyes wandered, and his intuition felt uncomfortable. Transparent clothes of various colors swayed in front of his eyes, especially the male guests who came alone, surrounded by 1 or 2 beautiful women. Chow Chow looked at Yen Ran next to him. Although her clothes were very complete, he could see at a glance that Yen Ran was pure and innocent, and those women were all inferior. After walking a little further, a lion's roar startled the two of them. A beautiful woman immediately came forward and introduced, "This is our casino's daily African lion show. You two came at the right time. The show has just begun." Chow Chow looked forward and saw 3 African lions in a huge cage performing various kinds of performances. 2 of the 3 lions were male. Looking at their huge manes up close, they looked like hard thorns sticking out of their heads. The visual impact was very strong. The roar of this kind of big, long-haired feline would bring horror to the people around it, and make everyone's hormones rise in an instant. The receptionist said, "This is the power of males." After that, her eyes were like hooks, circling Chow Chow up and down, and the smile in her eyes was full of seduction. Yen Ran pulled Chow Chow to her side and blocked him with her body. Chow Chow smiled in his heart. His Yen Ran still loves him very much. Further inside, there was a hubbub of voices and strange lights. Yen Ran said to Chow Chow, "The casino is really a harmful place. Many people come with the dream of making a fortune, and then leave with all their money. Many people can't resist the temptation of gambling and invest all their money in it, and finally, their families are ruined." Chow Chow licked his lips and said, "Aran, but this atmosphere is really exciting. Let's give it a try." Chow Chow rubbed his fists at the side, eager to give it a try. Originally, the two of them had come to look for clues, so Yen Ran naturally nodded and agreed. Chow Chow looked at the roulette closest to him. Under the guidance of the receptionist, Chow Chow won nearly 1,000 yuan with 200 yuan. The receptionist was excited and kept shouting, "Lucky guy." Although watching Chow Chow play happily, Yen Ran did not participate, but carefully observed the operation inside. The venue here was very large, and it was not an exaggeration to say that it was 2 football fields. There were thousands of staff inside, and there were hundreds of bodyguards. Yen Ran estimated that if she wanted to run this casino, the funds transferred from the country were far from enough. Although it was said that after having the initial funds, money could be used to make money, because of the exchange rate, the money itself was discounted. Yen Ran walked to the front of a circle of slot machines. There was a brand new BMW X6 parked directly at the top. Obviously, if you win, this car will be yours. Chow Chow played for a while, and when he turned back and did not see Yen Ran, he immediately threw down the chips in his hand. The receptionist behind him shouted but could not stop him. Yen Ran looked at Chow Chow, who was walking towards her, and said to him, "I think it should not be just the money transferred from the country. They must have partners abroad. This kind of casino should have a strong background. This Zhou Zhouqian must have colluded with someone abroad. Qiao Xiao did not expect that Yen Ran had already come to this conclusion after just a short while. Then what should we do now? We have to find a way to get the account of this casino and see if he laundered money here or directly invested in this casino. The goal was clear. Qiao Zhao's eyes searched the entire hall like an eagle, evaluating which entrance could be used to enter the backstage. Ah Xiao, let's act separately. You find a way to get the account. I'll look around and look for other clues. After Yen Ran finished giving orders, she walked directly to a table and sat down. She began to gamble. Immediately, he was surrounded by two handsome men who were welcoming guests. Qiao Xiao touched his nose. He really wanted to pull the two handsome men aside. He looked at Yen Ran sitting calmly at the table, and he had to find his destination. With such a large area, how could he find it? But he did not need to worry. As soon as he was alone, two beautiful women immediately surrounded him. Hey, handsome, what do you want to play? I'll accompany you. A slender hand was already on Qiao Zhao's shoulder. Qiao Xiao turned to look at the two beauties, and their eyes immediately showed a stunned expression. Handsome, you're really handsome. You can play anything you want. The other hand was already touching Qiao Zhao's chest. Qiao Xiao moved sideways to block the woman's hand. He grinned, revealing 8 neat white teeth. Are you saying there's a guest room here? Of course, handsome, we have everything here. As long as you want, we can definitely do it. After saying that, she threw Qiao Xiao a coquettish glance. She took a step forward, deliberately revealing her thighs from the high slit of her skirt. Qiao Xiao pretended to be very interested. It's my first time here. I'm not familiar with this place. Why don't the two beauties introduce me first? The two beauties were extremely happy. They immediately wanted to go forward and hold Qiao Zhao's arm. Qiao Xiao took out 2 bills from his pocket and stuffed them into their hands. I'm shy. You can lead the way. The two blonde beauties pursed their lips and smiled. They put the money directly in front of their chests. Their snake-like waists swayed left and right as they led the way. At Qiao Zhao's request, the two beauties began to introduce the various facilities of the casino. Qiao Xiao was interested in where the back end was and where he could find a computer that would give him a chance to hack into it. In fact, he aimed at the cashier. The computer in the cashier must be real-time settlement. As long as he went through the gateway, he could access his back end. But the cashier was their top priority. There were cameras, surveillance facilities, security guards, and all kinds of surveillance equipment that he could not see at all. The cashier was as bright as day, and there were constantly people coming to change their chips. There was no chance to hide at all. Qiao Xiao even thought about whether he should sneak in and work as a cashier for a few days. At this time, the two beauties blinked their eyes and asked Qiao Xiao seductively, "Sir, would you like to visit the guest room?" Qiao Zhao's eyes turned. He had already seen the upper and lower floors of the casino. When he passed by the basement floor, he found that Yen Ran had already moved here. He didn't know what Yen Ran was doing. He just wanted to finish his task quickly so that he could meet up with Yen Ran. I want a guest room with the best scenery. Do you know where it is? Ah, I know. One of the receptionist's eyes lit up. Our boss's office area has the best scenery. There is a presidential suite on their floor. Sir, would you like to go there? What the receptionist wanted to ask was, can you afford to pay the fees there? Qiao Xiao got his answer and smiled wickedly. You two beauties are so tempting, how can I not be moved by you? Let's go there. When the two beauties heard Qiao Zhao's answer, they smiled. This time, they held his arm again. Qiao Xiao didn't refuse. Instead, he pinched their plump buttocks. I'll see how you perform tonight. This action made the two women even more excited. With an enchanting twist of their buttocks, their entire bodies were pressed against Qiao Xiao. The texture of their plump buttocks rubbed against Qiao Zhao's upper arm through their clothes. It had already begun to warm up in advance. Chapter 299. Chow Xiao was held by two beautiful women on both sides, talking and laughing as they walked into the elevator. Along the way, he was still trying to get information out of them. He got a lot of information from the two beautiful women. He asked quite naturally. He was very curious about the style of the boss here and how he could run the casino so successfully. However, he didn't expect these two beauties to know so clearly. But for some big things, they could definitely boast about it logically. Sure enough, the two beauties showed off their boss to be unique. In the whole of the casinos in a city, their family was the biggest. Their boss had the ability to reach the sky. Not only could he make a fortune in the casinos, but he was also involved in many other fields. The most important thing was that the boss had a background in the political world. Does your boss usually work here? He is a busy man. This is just one of his offices. He is rarely here. We can only see him for major events. The office area here is the core management of the whole casino, so of course, they will choose the place with the best scenery to work. They are in a good mood. The facilities in the presidential room will definitely satisfy you, sir, just like the two of us. With a ding, the elevator stopped. When it opened, it was the presidential room. Sir, are you satisfied? This is the only room on this floor. Chow Xiao walked out of the elevator and found himself in a transparent night scene. All the curtains were opened, and the night scene of the whole city A was visible. It was as if the stars in the sky had fallen to the earth, covering the brilliance and prosperity. Chow Xiao walked around the entire room in a 360-degree circle. Everything was there, and everything was exposed to her. The bathroom, the toilet, the bedroom, the living room, the balcony, the bar, all of them had no doors. They were just placed at different heights, forming a certain area and blocking part of the privacy. Sir, there is a special design here. Look. A beautiful woman pressed a button, and the big bed in the bedroom automatically shrank into the ground. The whole floor of nearly 300 square meters was covered with a precious furry blanket. Sir, if you like, all the furniture here can be retracted into the ground and rolled around as you like. It was the first time that Chow Xiao had seen such a transparent room. However, this gave him some inspiration for the design of his new house. Everything could be electrically operated. Then, he and Yenran could do whatever they wanted in the future. He was satisfied that he had gotten a good idea, which also made him feel good. Now, the problem in front of him was how to get rid of these two women who were in his way. Sir, look, there are a lot of stimulant drugs here. If you like, you can use them at any time. Chow Xiao took a look at the dazzling array of drugs, just like a warehouse of small drugs. He looked at the labels of the drugs, and one of them immediately caught his attention. Why are there anesthetics here? A beautiful woman pursed her lips and said with a smile, some guests have some special hobbies. They want the other party to be caressed unconsciously, so the casino is also equipped with such drugs. However, the security of the casino is very good. If a guest hurts us, he won't be able to escape. Generally, the guests who will use this are some Asian guests. Chow Xiao was happy in his heart. He happened to be an Asian guest. Two beauties. You go take a bath first. Let's try it later, okay? The two beauties sighed in their hearts. It seemed that the Asian guests really had a strange habit. Why did they like people who were unconscious? However, the customer was God. The two beauties had no choice but to walk to the shower room coquettishly. They quickly took a bath and came out wrapped in bath towels. Chow Xiao was already sitting on the sofa. In front of him were 3 glasses of red wine. He gently shook one of them in his hand, and the other 2 glasses were already filled with anesthetics. Sir, we are very excited. Do you really want to make us faint? A beauty was still making a last effort. She made 1,000 provocative gestures in front of Chow Xiao. Chow Xiao was unmoved. Drink, beauty, I like that. Under Chow Xiao's persuasion, the 2 poor women quickly fell unconscious and enjoyed the unique scenery of the presidential suite alone. Chow Xiao was finally free. Looking at the 360-degree glass wall without any blind spots, he was a little worried. Did he have to break the whole glass wall? He estimated that the sudden wind would sweep the whole room away. It seemed that he could only go through the corridor. He opened the door and saw the cameras on both sides. F***CK, the privacy of the customers was basically exposed in broad daylight. With a flick of his finger, a gust of demonic energy flew out and blocked both cameras. It was at this moment that he flew out of the window at the end of the room like a rock. He climbed down from the window. This floor was probably close to the top floor. When he lowered his head, the wall of the precipitous cliff cascaded down like the smooth surface of a lake. Chow Chow imagined for a moment how to step onto the next floor without any footholds. It seemed that this was the only way. He placed his hands in front of his chest, and his body suddenly bounced back. Borrowing this force, his body quickly fell down. When he slid down to the windowsill below, his feet suddenly kicked forward, as if he was on a swing, and his body steadily landed on the edge of the windowsill. The edge was very narrow, and only enough for half a foot. Chow Chow glanced out of the corner of his eye and saw a small object protruding from his right hand. His hand was faster than his brain, and he quickly grabbed it to stabilize his body. He looked up. Damn! A camera was facing his handsome face. He quickly moved his magic to the palm of his hand, and with a flip of his hand, covered the entire camera. Damn it, he couldn't forget to delete his handsome face later. He was about to open the window when he heard the faint sound of footsteps. The sound was very soft and was covered by the loud wind outside, but Chow Chow still caught it. Chow Chow quickly turned his body back, grabbed the camera with his right hand, and pressed his whole body against the wall like a gecko. This time, he needed to use all his strength to fight against the Earth's gravity. There was nothing to attach to the wall, so Chow Chow could only rely on the friction of his clothes to resist. Just when he thought that the fabric on his hips was going to be torn, the sound finally disappeared. Chow Chow loosened his grip and fell down, hitting the edge of the window with a soft sound. Chow Chow touched his back. Good, he wasn't exposed. After knowing that there was someone inside, Chow Chow nimbly jumped in through the window without making a sound. Looking at the bright corridor, it seemed that he had to move quickly. He first took care of the camera, then flew up and quickly moved along the ceiling. Fortunately, there weren't too many people on the floor. Only a few rooms were lit, and the finance room that Chow Chow needed to go to was dark. Chow Chow was overjoyed. God is helping me. He quickly descended and quietly used his magic to open the door of the finance room. Fortunately, the alarm system he was worried about didn't go off. It seemed that it wasn't time to activate it yet. The furnishings in the room were very simple. Other than about 10 standard L-shaped desks, there was only a full wall of cabinets, and at the end of the room, there was a door. Chow Chow was sure that what he was looking for must be behind that door. He quickly entered the door and saw that the lights were bright. There was a huge desk with 5 computers on it, and on the opposite side of the desk, there was a whole wall of small screens that were playing the information sent back by the cameras. Damn, is this a central monitoring room? Why is there no one here? The computer that Chow Chow was looking for was on the desk. At this time, he didn't have time to think about anything else. Work was more important. He quickly turned on the 5 computers at the same time. The moment he turned on the computer, he asked for the password. He took out a self-made cracking tool that he carried with him and quickly ran it. After about 2 minutes, the green progress bar finished running. Chow Chow raised his eyebrows and the computers were automatically unlocked. Chow Chow quickly found the financial system. Originally, he was already familiar with this in the country. In other countries, this network was similar, so Chow Chow was able to do it easily. He quickly found the path and found that there were many files that looked like the finance system. However, Chow Chow didn't directly download them. Instead, he first looked for the self-destruct system in the system. Sure enough, as he thought, there were self-destruct systems in a very secret place in these computers. Chow Chow was like a doctor who was picking out bones from flesh. He shut down these programs. This process was very time-consuming. Chow Chow listened to the sounds outside while he frantically operated the computers in this brightly lit room full of surveillance cameras. Chow Zhao's eyes were stained with sweat, and the clothes on his back were stuck to his body. He looked at the time on the bottom right corner of the computer, and every minute and second was urging him to hurry up, just a little bit faster. A window popped up. Success. Chow Chow let out a long sigh of relief. He immediately began to export the accounts. He couldn't tell which company's accounts were from, so he could only choose to export all of them. Looking at the huge amount of data, Chow Chow was a little anxious. He estimated that it would take 40 minutes. The camera in front of her was constantly changing images. While waiting, Chow Chow had already found Yenran. She was still sitting at one of the tables, but it seemed that this was no longer the same table as before. Chow Chow only saw that the chips in front of Yenran seemed to be increasing. He didn't expect that Yenran would be able to gamble. It seemed that he still had to work harder. Otherwise, his little bit of financial strength would be useless in front of Yenran. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Chow Chow kept urging the progress in his heart, but the progress bar was like a snail in Chow Chow's mind. It couldn't move fast. Chow Chow was so anxious that he wanted to whip him. He prayed in his heart, "Please don't let anyone come. Please don't let all his efforts go to waste." Chow Chow constantly paid attention to the images in the camera. There was a camera in the corridor outside, facing the elevator. At the 39th minute, the dark entrance of the elevator suddenly opened, and a person walked out. He was tall and handsome, mature and elegant. Chow Chow took a closer look and was shocked. Zhou Zhoutian. Chow Chow cursed. God was really *king against him. He could only pray that Zhou Zhoutian didn't enter the finance room. He watched him enter the room next door. Less than a minute later, he heard the door open. Oh no. Chapter 300. Zhou Zhoutian and the other person's footsteps made loud thumping noises as they walked into Chow Zhao's room. They were only a dozen steps away from the door, and the two of them seemed to be talking about something. Their conversation changed from inaudible to clear and audible. Completed. Just as the other person turned the doorknob of the finance room, the download was finally completed. Luckily, Chow Chow had set it to shut down once the download was completed. At this critical moment, the sound of Chow Chow pulling out the USB and turning the doorknob overlapped. Chow Chow took the opportunity to squat down and immediately hid under the office table. The space under the huge office table was very large. Chow Chow summoned the guard seal and covered his entire body. At the same time, he lowered his presence to the lowest level. He heard from Yenran that Zhou Zhoutian was very capable. He must not be discovered by him. The two of them walked into the room and stood in front of the big screen. Business is still so good. Opening a casino is really profitable. Zhou Zhoutian praised as he looked at the lively scene. Of course. Casinos, drugs, and firearms are the most profitable businesses, the other middle-aged man said. The money I moved in seems to be just a drop in the bucket. I've already helped you transfer your money to places in the Federation that need it. Originally, I could have gotten more, but I didn't expect an accident to happen. I'm not worried about you. With your abilities, what can't you do? At most, it's a matter of time. Hee hee, I like hearing you say that. It's always been like this. This world is controlled by us. Anyone or anything that wants to escape our control has to be killed in the cradle. Why are you here? Shouldn't there be a lot of trouble in the country? The trouble I'm talking about is in the country. Originally, my management skills were too poor. My old nest was cleaned out by another girl. Now, this girl has become a hindrance to me. I originally wanted to take her in, but I didn't expect her to find out about me. The middle-aged man looked at Zhou Zhoutian in shock. Is this why you came here personally? That's right. The orders from above are to get rid of her as soon as possible. Unfortunately, this girl is quite outstanding. Even I am a little fascinated by her. The middle-aged man chuckled and said, It's just a woman. I have as many as you want. You can take your pick from me. All the girls here are foreign. They are all careless. How can they compare to our Oriental girls? Their skin is delicate and pure. The feeling when you touch them is different. You can't say that. Our foreign girls are all top-notch in bed, and they are full of energy. Aren't they more attractive than your Oriental girls? Zhou Zhoutian smiled and changed the topic. Are there any new instructions from the higher-ups? The higher-ups have instructed us to steal as much information as possible, especially military information. We still need to rely on the cultivators under you to collect it. You don't need to transfer the money anymore? Of course, the more money the better. But if you have any difficulties, you can put them aside first. This is a long-term and vast project. The higher-ups are more concerned about the advancement of technology and military innovation. The two continued to talk in depth. Qiao Xiao hid under the table and did not move. At this time, he had turned on the recording mode of his phone and recorded the conversation between the two men without missing a word. Qiao Xiao was glad that there was only one chair in front of the desk. The two men should not have walked in here. Sure enough, after the two talked for a while, the middle-aged man said, "I have a document next door. It has a specific action plan. Come with me to take a look." Qiao Xiao let out a long sigh of relief. They were finally going to leave. After the two men left, Qiao Xiao quickly went back the way he came and returned to his presidential suite without anyone noticing. Fortunately, the two hostesses in the suite were still lying unconscious on the ground. Success. Qiao Xiao broke out in a cold sweat because he had almost been exposed. He simply went to the bathroom to take a shower. He was not used to the feeling of having no shelter around him. After Qiao Xiao restored his beautiful appearance, he left a stack of money at the bedside and then went back to the casino. A few minutes after Qiao Xiao left, Zhou Zhoutian and the middle-aged man took the materials back to the finance office. They sat on the sofa and each made a cup of tea. It seemed that they were going to have a long talk. The two talked for about 10 minutes and finally came to an end. Zhou Zhoutian casually looked at the big screen. Suddenly, the teacup in his hand froze. Then he smiled mysteriously. He did not expect the fish to take the initiative to run to the fisherman's hook. "Old Tan, look." In the middle of the third screen, the girl on the gambling table is called Yanran. "I came for her this time." The middle-aged man called Old Tan looked carefully. He picked up the remote control on the table and zoomed in on the third screen. At this time, he could clearly see Yanran's cold face sitting at the table. She was playing suaha with a few people, and there were a lot of chips in front of her. "Are you talking about this beauty? She's not bad looking and has a good figure, but she's too cold. Do you like such a girl?" Old Tan teased. "I did like her before, but now the orders are to kill her. What a pity." Old Tan chuckled. "Does she still want to go out after entering the casino? This is simple. Just leave it to me." "Sigh, Old Tan, you can't be careless. She's a cultivator and her realm is very high. She's not easy to catch." Old Tan's mind spun quickly. "I got it. Let's not treat her as a cultivator, just treat her as an ordinary person. I'll think of a way. We'll definitely catch her. You can do whatever you want with her." After Qiao Xiao finished showering, he took out his phone and called Yanran. He wanted to tell her that he had successfully completed the mission and ask her for instructions on the next step. However, he did not expect that no one would pick up even after the phone rang more than 20 times. Qiao Xiao was very strange. Could it be that he was addicted to gambling? Or did he go on a mission? However, Qiao Xiao was not worried. He knew Yanran's ability. He might as well go down and look for her. However, when he went downstairs, Qiao Xiao searched a few times. He could not find Yanran in the entire casino. No matter how he called, no one picked up. Qiao Xiao could not help but feel anxious. No matter where Yanran was, she should have given him a message. Just before Qiao Xiao came down to look for Yanran, Yanran had already gone through a few tables and won a lot of money. At the end of the day, gambling was still a matter of probability. Yanran had her own investment strategy. In the beginning, she would gamble with the least amount of money. If she lost, she would double the amount. If she lost again, she would double the amount again. If she had enough money, she could add dozens of times in a row. What she gambled on was probability. There would always be one time where she would win, and if she won this time, she would earn a lot of money. If the stock kept falling, you would make up for it at different prices. The lower the price, the more you would make up for it. When the stock rose, you would have enough chips in your hands. Moreover, the diluted price was very low, so you would be able to earn money very quickly. Yenran wanted to make so much money. Her purpose was to attract the attention of the higher-ups so that she could be taken to a higher-level room so that she could get more information. This was actually a risky move, but Yenran had always been a person who jumped on the tip of a knife and fire. Her courage and meticulousness were her bargaining chips. By the time she reached the 8th table, she was running out of chips. At this moment, a man in a suit walked over and said, "Miss, your luck is quite good today. You've already reached our standard to enter the VIP room. I'd like to ask if you're interested in moving to another room?" Yenran smiled in her heart. It was finally here. She smiled at the man. "It would be my pleasure. I hope to meet a stronger opponent." The man in the suit made a gesture with his right hand and led the way in front. She took the elevator directly to the 10th floor. When the elevator opened, there were countless beautifully decorated rooms outside. The solid wood heavy wooden door was covered with leather edges, and the metal handle was shining. The man pushed open one of the rooms and invited Yenran in. There was no one in the room at this time. There was a huge gambling table in the center, and there was a circle of leather sofas around the room. It was very luxurious. "Miss, please sit here for a while. I will ask someone to serve you tea. In a while, other guests will come up to compare notes with you. You can choose the game. Our purpose is to let you have a good time. Wait a minute. I want to see your boss," Yenran said in a cold voice. The man hesitated. "Miss, to tell you the truth, your chips have not reached the point where you can communicate with our boss personally, but I believe you will reach it soon. As long as you have enough chips, I will help you to invite the boss down." Yenran thought about it. It was indeed not easy to see the boss of such a big casino. She had to have enough chips to tempt him. She had thought too simply in the beginning. Zhou Zhouqian watched Yenran's every move on the monitor screen. "Hee, old Tan wants to see you. This beauty is still a little inexperienced. How can she see me with her chips? However, this girl looks calm enough. She's not a simple character. What are you going to do next? Find someone to gamble with him?" Zhou Zhouqian continued to ask. "It's up to you. If you want her to play for a while longer, then there's no rush. If you want to take her down directly, then I'll take another plan. Time is precious. Just take her down. However, if you fight him head-on, you'll definitely be asking for trouble." Old Tan smiled. "Zhouqian, you think too simply of me. Which room of mine isn't an iron wall? How can it be so easy to leave after entering? I'll let you see how long it will take for this beauty to be taken down by me." With that said, Old Tan picked up a walkie-talkie beside the table. "Room 3 on the 10th floor is sealed. Put in the knockout powder." When Zhou Zhouqian heard this, a smile of admiration appeared on his face. "If you want to do big things, you don't care about trifles. I admire you, Old Tan." Chapter 301. Yenran sat on the spacious sofa in room 3 on the 10th floor. A waiter came up to her and served her a cup of hot tea. Yenran carefully observed the waiter's actions and the layout of the surrounding environment. This was a male waiter. He looked down and didn't say anything. He was very different from the greeters in the casino downstairs. After serving the tea, he silently left. The door of the private room was ajar. She could hear the movements in the corridor. This place was very different from the casino downstairs. The casino downstairs was noisy, but this place was quiet. Yenran stealthily released her spiritual sense and explored the surrounding rooms. She saw that there was no one in the 2 rooms next to her. About 4 to 5 rooms away, there were a few people gambling. Just as she entered the room, these people immediately left the room and entered the elevator. After Yen Ran searched the entire floor, she found that even the waiter was gone. She was the only one on the entire floor. This was abnormal. Gradually, Yen Ran smelled a faint floral fragrance. It was like the fragrance of wine, but also contained the smell of medicine. Yen Ran's pair of beautiful eyes quickly scanned the room. Under her careful observation, she saw a faint metallic luster on the roof of the room. Yen Ran judged for a long time. Her heart suddenly jumped. It seemed to be a fence. It seemed like this was a trap. She quickly rushed to the door. But at this moment, there was a cracking sound. Countless metal fences extended along the walls of the room. It was the metallic luster that she had just discovered. She was about to use her spiritual power to rush over, but suddenly she felt dizzy. She held the edge of the sofa with her hand and slowly fell. The moment she fell, she only remembered to use an array to surround herself. Xiao Xiao was in the casino downstairs. He couldn't find Yen Ran. He was anxious. He opened Yen Ran's location and found that she was still on this floor. However, there was no map of the casino. Xiao Xiao couldn't pinpoint her specific location. He had an ominous premonition. Just now, he could see Yen Ran gambling in the finance room. How could Zhou Zhouqian not be able to find her? Xiao Zhao's eyes were filled with gamblers who were releasing their souls, and his ears were filled with the clamor of bets being placed. His head was buzzing, and he was anxious. He told himself in his heart that he must stay calm and that nothing would happen to Yen Ran. He took a deep breath and frantically tried to think of a way. He saw that not far in front of him, there was a table where Yen Ran had sat before. He walked up to it and found an empty seat. He called out to the dealer lady in the middle, "Where is that girl just now? Did she want to run away after winning so much money from me? I'm here to recoup. Find that girl for me." Xiao Zhao's voice was very loud. His rough voice did not match his perfect appearance at all. The lady who was originally dealing the cards was shocked by Xiao Zhao's appearance, but when she heard his words that sounded like a butcher's hawking, she immediately gave him a discount in her heart. What a pity that this appearance was so commonplace. Xiao Xiao continued to say fiercely, "Where is that girl? Who knows? Hurry up and call her over. If I don't recoup my losses today, my surname isn't Li." The dealer lady hurriedly persuaded him, "Sir, please be more civilized. You can't be loud here." Xiao Xiao continued to make a ruckus. "Why can't I be loud? I lost money and you can't let me keep quiet. Are you trying to suffocate me to death? I'm telling you, hurry up and find her. If you can't find her, I'll smash your stall." After saying that, he slammed his fist on the table. All the chips on the table flew into the air. The people who were gambling next to him were shocked. "Sir, don't be so agitated." The dealer lady hurriedly held down Xiao Xiao and quickly said, "Just now, a lady won a lot of money here, but she quickly left." "Left? Where did she go? I won the money for her at this very table. Can she just walk away now? Hurry up and find her for me." The dealer lady was also angry. "Sir, the guests here are very free. They can go wherever they want." Although she played at my table, she quickly left. "Where do you want me to find her?" Xiao Xiao imitated the ruffian and jumped on the table. He rolled back and forth on the table, scaring the surrounding people away from the table. They didn't expect the noise to get louder and louder. The security guards and other guests crowded over to watch. Suddenly, the table was surrounded by 3 layers of people. The security guards went forward to pull Xiao Xiao down, but Xiao Xiao was too strong. They couldn't pull him down at all. He just kept shouting, "Find her for me. I want to get my money back. Find her for me. I want to get my money back. Sir, if you keep doing this, we'll send you to the police for disturbing the order of the casino." A security guard threatened Xiao Xiao. "What crime did I commit? Isn't your casino open for people to gamble? Don't tell me you won't let me gamble when I want to. Will people come to play in the future?" When the surrounding onlookers saw this scene, some of them laughed, and some even sympathized with Xiao Xiao. Look at how handsome this handsome guy is. He must have lost too much. Why don't you help him get it back?" The surrounding people were all talking at once, causing the whole scene to be in a state of chaos. Finally, a guest said, "I saw that girl just now. It seems that a manager invited her to a VIP room upstairs. He said that she won more money and was qualified to enter a room on a higher floor. Don't make a scene here. Go upstairs and look for her." Chow Chow heard that and went upstairs. "Which floor did she go to? If you don't tell me, I won't leave here." The security guard couldn't help but say, "She's on the 10th floor. All our rooms are on the 10th floor. Go up to the 10th floor and look for her yourself." Chow Chow got his answer and immediately got down from the table. He ran to the elevator like a wisp of smoke. The security guard behind him couldn't catch up. "Don't tell me he's crazy." After Yen Ran entered her array, she woke up after a while. She used her spiritual power to pull out the poison in her body. Soon, her eyes became clear and she returned to her original cold and unaffected state. However, she knew that since she had been discovered, she might as well beat them at their own game. But she didn't know why the people here had caught her. Did they know her identity? Or did they just think that she had won too much money? It was like this in the casino. If you won too much, they wouldn't let you go. Thus, Yen Ran lay on the sofa motionlessly. She was like a hunter waiting for an opportunity to catch her prey. Old Tan and Zhou Jiuqian smiled as they watched Yen Ran's series of actions. Finally, she lay down softly on the sofa. "Old Tan, your room is good. It's so well equipped. You can do anything you want. That's only if she's willing to enter our casino. Those who can enter the casino are not necessarily good people. It's her bad luck to fall into our hands. If there was a real god of gamblers who won a lot of money from you, would he also be killed by you like this? Of course. How can a casino lose money? Can we go take a look?" Zhou Jiuqian couldn't wait. "I realize that you really treat this girl differently. Wait a moment, I'll get them to remove all the hallucinogens first." Old Tan gave an order, "Remove all the drugs in the room and retract all the fences. Let's go and see this oriental beauty you mentioned." Chow Chow wanted to use the elevator to go up to the 10th floor, but he found that the elevator button on the 10th floor was gray. He couldn't go up at all. His heart skipped a beat. He knew that something must have happened to Yen Ran. He went straight to the 11th floor and walked out of the elevator. Chow Chow was about to walk in when he was stopped by the receptionist at the elevator. "Please show me your VIP card." Chow Chow didn't have any card. He could only smile at the beauty and say, "Beauty, I came in with that lady just now. The card is on her." The hostess looked at the fat woman in front of her, then looked at Chow Zhao's model-like figure and face. She nodded thoughtfully and pursed her lips into a smile. She lowered her head and gestured for Chow Chow to go ahead. Then, she asked the lady to confirm it. Chow Chow knew that she had misunderstood. At this moment, he could only walk to the fat woman's side and pat her on the shoulder. "Hello, may I have the honor of buying you a drink?" The fat woman was about 30 years old. Her face was pink like the putty on the wall, and her scarlet mouth was especially prominent on her face. She probably didn't expect that such a handsome man would take the initiative to buy her a drink. The woman's flesh trembled, making Chow Chow feel that he would fall to the ground if he wasn't careful. Then, the woman smiled in surprise. For words came out of her mouth. She was very happy. Then, she took Chow Zhao's arm and pulled him in. Chow Chow turned around and made an okay gesture to the receptionist. He successfully entered the 11th floor. After entering, Chow Chow realized that this place was simply another entertainment world. There were private rooms and a lobby. The people here were even more daring. Just like this fat woman, who had been putting her hand on his hip for a long time. Next to her, there were even some impudent people who had reached their hands into the waitress's breasts. Chow Chow endured and walked to the side of the wine rack. He handed the fat woman a glass of wine and took one for himself. Finally, he said to the woman, "Here's to you." I hope you have a good time tonight. I'm that lady's companion. See you later. The fat woman looked in the direction Xiao Xiao pointed. There were 4 or 5 women standing together and chatting in the direction he had pointed. By the time she turned around, Xiao Xiao had already disappeared. Finally, the fat woman rushed to the 4 or 5 women who were chatting and yelled at them, "I want that man." "Whose companion is he? He's mine tonight. Don't even think about fighting with me." The 4 or 5 women were dumbfounded. "Big sister, we're all here to have fun. Why are you fighting over a companion? Who knows how many people they have to accompany every day? Are you that reluctant?" Chapter 302. Zhou Zhouqian and Old Tan got off the elevator. When the elevator door opened on the 10th floor, Zhou Zhouqian could smell a faint fragrance. "Is it the hallucinogen you mentioned just now? Your nose is really sharp. People who cultivate are indeed different. I can't smell it at all." Old Tan praised. "I'm more sensitive to smells. This has nothing to do with cultivation. It's a habit I developed in Country M." The two of them walked into the room while talking and laughing. At this time, the room had returned to the appearance of an official casino. Zhou Zhouqian saw Yanran on the sofa and walked over to squat beside her. At this time, the beautiful girl was unconscious like a sleeping princess. Her clothes were wrinkled and her body was slanted sideways. Her legs were crossed and half her face was buried in the sofa. Zhou Zhouqian adjusted Yanran's face and turned her body to lie on the sofa. Then, he stroked her cheek. Her delicate skin was especially smooth under his rough fingers. It was like a fine jade without a single flaw. However, his hand was so dark in comparison. It was so dark that Zhou Zhouqian pinched it hard. Yanran's little face immediately turned red. "This is the oriental beauty you were talking about." Old Tan also squatted down and observed carefully. "Her skin is really good. Look, you can leave a red mark with just a gentle pinch." What attracted me the most about her was her forbearance. At that time, my subordinates had taken away all of her spiritual energy, causing her to fall into a quagmire. My subordinates had also ruthlessly stepped on her many times, but they didn't even bend her back. Later, I didn't expect that she would actually find the antidote for the spiritual transformation pill and recover her spiritual energy. Step by step, she removed my subordinate's family from the entire cultivation world. "Oh, that's really a proud and amazing woman. See, even you are praising her." Of course, I am a little reluctant. Her righteous aura always made me feel ashamed of my own inferiority. We are both top cultivators, but why am I the evil one while she is the righteous one? If the two of us can work together in this world, reach the peak, look down on the earth, and make everyone submit to the two of us, that would be an achievement. Zhou Zhouqian looked at Yanran's face and said with emotion, "What a pity. This is the biggest joke that God has played on the two of you. The two of you have different beliefs and values. It's impossible for you to be together." "Yes." Zhou Zhouqian stood up and sat on the sofa beside Old Tan. The waiter served 2 glasses of wine. Zhou Zhouqian looked at the sparkling red wine in the glass and shook it gently. "If I didn't join the organization long ago, I wouldn't be where I am now." Old Tan patted Zhou Zhouqian on the shoulder. "That's right. Don't be swayed by a girl. That country didn't give you any benefits, and your happy life only started after you joined the organization. Look at you now. You have status, and money. The only regret is that you have a woman. But how can anyone really spend the rest of their life with the woman they love? Women are very important when you're young, and that's because of your hormones. But at our age, what we want more is stability. If this girl has the same thoughts as you and shares the same beliefs, then I won't object to the two of you being together. But if she stands on the opposite side of the Federation, then I advise you to be ruthless. You have to know that there are many women who will come and go as you please. The most important thing is that you have a strong body. The Federation won't mistreat you." Zhou Zhouqian was silent when he heard this, but Yanran's heart was in turmoil. before the two of them entered the room, her phone had already blocked all signals and turned on the recording function. She had also guessed that Zhou Zhouqian was a parasite in the cultivation world, but she didn't expect him to have another identity. He was a spy from Country M. This explained everything. It was no wonder that Zhou Zhouqian had deliberately sent Minister Tian overseas. If he did not have any influence in Country M, who could have allowed him to do whatever he wanted in Country M? Country M was another prison for cultivators that Zhou Zhouqian had created. Although power could corrupt the soul, the power that Zhou Zhouqian obtained from Minister Tian had already allowed him to reach the top. If he could really bring the cultivation world to a new peak under his management, Yen Ran wouldn't oppose his leadership. But she didn't expect that his other identity was actually under the leadership of a foreign federation. The sense of national justice surged in Yenron's heart. A kind of betrayal ignited Yenron's anger. Zhou Zhouqian had forgotten his own country. He was being filial to a foreign bandit. Zhou Zhouqian listened to Old Tan's words. Originally, he was using Yenron's relationship with her, so he no longer hesitated. Okay, I'll deal with her. Sigh, wait a minute. Isn't it a pity that such a beauty is dealt with directly? Old Tan stopped Zhou Zhouqian. Why, are you interested? Zhou Zhouqian looked up at Old Tan. I'm not interested in Oriental beauties, but I have a lot of guests from Country R. Like you, they are very passionate about Oriental beauties. Can't they be put to use? Are you willing to? Old Tan looked at Zhou Zhouqian with a teasing gaze. Whatever, but I'm afraid of long delays. How long can this medicine of yours last? My medicine is very effective. It can usually last for 3 days and 2 nights. I think this is indeed a stunner. Recently, a guest from Country R is also our partner. I was worried about how to entertain him, but I didn't expect one to come knocking on my door. Zhou Zhouqian caressed Yenron's smooth face. He's really lucky. All right, then I'll make the arrangements. Zhouqian, I'm also helping you. I'm letting you completely give up on this girl so that you won't ruin the big picture. You have to remember, those who do big things can't be dragged down by the wind, flowers, snow, and moon. Zhou Zhouqian knew that Old Tan was right. He gritted his teeth and said, I'll listen to you. Qiao Xiao circled around the 11th floor, but he couldn't find the exit. He simply knocked out a waiter and changed into his clothes. Then, he openly searched the 11th floor. Other than the hall, the doors of the other rooms were tightly shut. Qiao Xiao walked around and realized that there was a corridor around the elevator, and all the windows were in the room. He had to enter the room to go down to the 11th floor. Oh, there's a good one. Not bad, just what I need. Send her to my room. A man from Country I was talking on the phone when he walked past Qiao Xiao. Qiao Xiao didn't move his eyes. A stream of devil energy shot out from his fingers and the man's trousers were immediately cut open. After the man finished the phone call, Qiao Xiao immediately stepped forward and said, Sir, what can I do for you? The man didn't understand. What's the matter? Qiao Xiao gestured at the man's trousers with his eyes. The man exclaimed, F***CK. When did you cut it? Come with me to the room and help me change my clothes. It's my pleasure. In this way, Qiao Xiao finally followed the man into the room on the 11th floor. The facilities of the room were very similar to the previous presidential suite. It seemed that the decoration here was similar. The open space was very empty. The most tragic thing was that there were only floor-to-ceiling windows in the room. There was no independent window to look at the night outside. The man asked Qiao Xiao to help him find a pair of trousers. Qiao Xiao walked to the wardrobe and helped him take one. He wanted to leave immediately and think of a way. Unexpectedly, there was a knock on the door. Qiao Xiao had no choice but to open the door. He saw 2 men carrying a bag in. There must be a person inside. This is a gift for you, sir. Please accept it. Qiao Xiao had to take the bag and carry it on his shoulder. It was not too heavy. Put it on the bed. I won't go out. You can go. This is your tip. The man pointed to the tip on the table. Chow Shao took the initiative to bend down and take it. He bowed and turned to leave. The moment he turned around and closed the door, the man opened the bag, revealing a beautiful and refined face. At this time his eyes opened. Then Chow Shao saw the man fall backward. Yanran. Chow Shao could not believe it. He almost missed Yanran. After Yanran came out of the bag, she glanced at the man on the ground and then walked to Chow Shao. Let's leave here quickly. Zhou Zhoutian is here. This is their territory. We'll find another chance. Then the two of them dressed up in the room. Yanran changed her appearance greatly. The two of them walked out of the main door of the casino. As soon as they went out, Yanran walked to the corner in front of the hotel and directly knocked down a man. The man who followed us is also Zhou Zhoutian's man. We can't stay in the original hotel. Let's go to another one. Chow Shao and Yanran moved very quickly. Now they were racing with Zhou Zhoutian. After they found that the man was in trouble, they would definitely know that Yanran had escaped. Then they would definitely search everywhere. How about we go back directly? No, we can't go back. We have to catch Zhou Zhoutian. After getting in a taxi, Chow Shao and Yanran quickly returned to the hotel. They collected all the evidence and quickly checked out. Yanran called Xiao Lu and asked him to hide directly with Minister Tian. They did not need to stay in the hotel and rented a room. Then she and Chow Shao went to the most chaotic area of City A and rented a room. The advantage of this place was that no one would check their passports. As long as they had money, it was a good place to hide. As soon as Chow Shao settled down, he took out the computer and deleted or replaced all the information about himself, Yanran and Xiao Lu on the internet. From now on, they would not be able to find him on the internet. Yanran praised Chow Shao greatly. It seems that you really came in handy when I asked you to learn computer science. Of course, Ran. Your Xiao is awesome. Chapter 303. Every minute and every second of the night was torturous. Simmering slowly over a small fire was far less satisfying than stir-frying over a large fire. However, in the darkness before dawn, no one could sleep well. Chow Shao and Yanran finally settled down, but Zhou Zhoutian couldn't sleep because of the matter of giving Yanran to the guests of Country R. Old Tan said that in order to prevent him from thinking too much at night, he arranged a foreign girl for him, but he didn't expect that Zhou Zhoutian would be so upset that he drove her out in less than an hour. He was always a little worried that one wrong step would lead to another. He should have destroyed Yanran's spiritual power first and then given it to the guests of Country R. But when he came to his senses and wanted to remedy it, it was already too late. He smoked in the room all night and carefully thought about the follow-up possibilities. It wasn't until the morning that he fell asleep. In his dream, he dreamed that Yanran rushed to him with a knife, but he couldn't move at all. Around them, there were war drums, and countless soldiers were waving flags and shouting. He was the only enemy on the magnificent battlefield. He saw Yanran's hand holding the knife above her head, and all the voices stopped abruptly. He only heard her scolding loudly, "Zhou Zhoutian, you are not a Chinese. You are the scum of the nation and the traitor of mankind. You have done all kinds of evil. Now it's time to take your life to pay tribute to those who have been tortured by you." Just as he finished speaking, the war drums began to beat rhythmically from slow to fast, like a rushing war horse. Yanran was still hundreds of meters away, but in the blink of an eye, the blade had already landed on his head. Yanran's speed was too fast, and at this moment, the sound of the war drums seemed to break through the horizon, reverberating from the ninth heaven to his eardrums, urgent and frantic. Zhou Zhoutian was abruptly jolted awake, raising his right arm with difficulty to block in front of his head. He struggled to open his sleeping eyes and saw a bright and luxurious room. He was so frightened that he broke out in a cold sweat. The feeling of being unable to move in his sleep was still fresh in his memory, and he was extremely scared. Fortunately, it was just a dream. He gasped for breath, took out his mobile phone, and called Old Tan. "Is the guest of Country R finished? Hurry up and send her back. I want to destroy her spiritual power." Zhou Zhoutian couldn't sleep anymore. He got up and washed up, sat in the room and waited anxiously. Boss, something big happened. The guest of country are fainted in the guest room and only woke up this morning. He expressed great doubts about the security measures of our casino and is now making a fuss. Old Tan hurriedly got out of bed. He didn't even have time to put on his coat and hurried to appease the guest of country R. The guest of country R was aggressive. We are in a cooperative relationship. I didn't expect that my security in your country would not be guaranteed at all. I suspect that the woman yesterday was arranged by you to steal our national intelligence. What are you up to? I will go back and tell my government about this matter and let them hold you accountable. They must make you pay the price to alleviate the humiliation I suffered this time. Old Tan nodded and bowed. He couldn't wait to kneel on the ground. He didn't expect that a woman would cause such an uproar. I'm sorry. We didn't know that this woman would scare you. It's our fault. We will try our best to make up for it. May I ask if you have any other losses last night? When the guest of country heard this, he became even angrier. How do I know if there are any other losses? I was dizzy and I didn't even see that woman's face clearly. How do you want me to know if there are any losses? When Old Tan heard that he didn't see the woman's face clearly, it was easy to handle. He immediately asked someone to send his favorite Oriental woman to the room of the guest of country R. My honorable guest, we were negligent last night and let this woman take advantage of us. We have already captured her. You can do whatever you want as long as you can vent your anger. The guest of country R looked at the woman kneeling on the ground. She was gentle and weak and looked quite good. It seemed that she was the best treasure they had. He snorted. Then stay here first. I'll take a look at the goods. Old Tan gritted his teeth so hard that they almost shattered. This was his original treasure. He really spat out a mouthful of blood when he gave it away just like that. The worst thing was that Yen Ran had actually escaped. She was completely unaffected by the drug. He was shocked. Didn't that mean that he had heard his conversation with Zhou Zhoutian? Zhoutian, something happened. That Yen Ran escaped last night. Zhou Zhoutian was already feeling uneasy. When he heard this result, it was as expected. He crushed the cigarette butt in his hand. The temperature of nearly 700 degrees burned his skin, but he didn't feel it at all. Old Tan, search the entire city. You must capture her at all costs. Reporting to boss, there is no such person in all the hotels. Reporting to boss, there is no such person in all the airports. Reporting to boss, there is no information about this person on the internet. Reporting to boss, all the people we originally locked up have disappeared. Old Tan and Zhou Zhoutian listened to the reports of their subordinates every hour. Their hearts were in turmoil. They didn't expect this Yen Ran to be so capable. Old Tan finally admitted that he had underestimated her. Zhoutian, you're right. This woman is too powerful. She's definitely a big problem. We have to get rid of her as soon as possible. They must still be in a city. It won't be that easy to escape. And I'm still here. I'm guessing she's thinking about how to capture me and bring me to justice. Zhou Zhoutian had already calmed down. Although it was a pity to miss such a great opportunity, it was still under his territory. How could a woman escape from his grasp? Xiao Xiao and Yen Ran had gone to do something big last night, which was to rescue all the other cultivators who had been imprisoned with Minister Tian. They were all placed in a secret place by Little Six. These people were all key witnesses. Although they didn't have any identity and couldn't return to their country, there was always a way. Yen Ran had already instructed Little Six to think of a way to buy fake passports from the black market and try to send these people back to their country in batches. Next, they needed to integrate the evidence. The accounts that Xiao Xiao had copied from the casino were very useful. The evidence was extremely crucial. Originally, there were some points in Yen Ran's chain of evidence that couldn't be connected, but through these, it had been made up, forming a perfect spiderweb-like chain of evidence. There were no more gaps. The fact that Zhou Jiutian had transferred the domestic funds abroad could be confirmed. Yanran, take a look. These are all account information, and there are also some things that look like gibberish. Can you recognize them? Xiao Xiao is unlocking and analyzing the data he copied. This is the kind of data he copied. Yanran raised her head from her tree-shaped map and walked to Xiao Xiao's side. Xiao Xiao took the opportunity to hug her and sit down on his lap. He wrapped his arms around her waist and rubbed his handsome face against her neck. Look, it's this kind of character. It looks like a password. I can't understand it. It looks like an email. Yanran couldn't be more familiar with this type of text. Many people in the cultivation world used this kind of transmission method. She turned around and planted a big kiss on Xiao Xiao's face. Ah Xiao, you're really my lucky star. Yanran quickly sorted out these emails. There were thousands of them, and they were densely packed with many things that even Yanran didn't know about. The content of the emails was divided into two categories: military and economic. Originally, the evidence that Yanran found was mainly about his embezzlement from the country, but now, the evidence that was needed to discover his identity as a spy was also vivid in her mind. These emails had been sent over many years. Many years ago, before Zhou Jiutian became the manager of Sister Xiao, he had already begun to do these things. One by one, the content of the conversations between the higher-ups of the small circle, the military drawings of some countries, and the parameters of some core technologies were all sent out of the country by Zhou Jiutian, so that Country M would be clear about China's trump card, so that the country would have no secrets on the negotiation table, and so that the country would have no bargaining chips in foreign relations. After reading all the documents, Yanran was so angry that she slammed the mouse on the table and said angrily, "Since ancient times, all traitors and betrayers have been tolerated by the people and the law. This kind of sinner who betrays his country and compatriots will forever be nailed to the pillar of shame and will be reviled for all eternity." Her chest rose and fell, and her cheeks were red with anger. She wanted to get up from Xiao Xiao's body, but she was held down by Xiao Xiao. Yanran, calm down. Don't be impulsive. Yanran closed her eyes and leaned against Xiao Xiao's chest for a long time before she finally calmed down. Ah Xiao, I'm going to send this series of evidence to the most powerful people in the country. I believe that someone will bring him to justice. In the following days, Yanran and Xiao Xiao worked day and night. The thick paper of 100,000 words was finally sorted out after 10 days and nights without sleep, and the various evidence attached to the back was as high as 1G. At the end of the paper, Yanran left 7 or 8 blank pages. Xiao Xiao was puzzled. Yanran looked into his eyes and said, "Ah Xiao, the path I chose is a very dangerous one, but it is also a path that bears the burden of righteousness in the world. Since you are my lover, I hope that you will walk down this path with me. The last 7 or 8 pages are for all of us in the cultivation world to sign. I will take the path of real name reporting and submit it through the highest formal procedures of the country. The more people sign, the more weight it will have, and the more it will attract the attention of the higher-ups. However, this may succeed, but it may also fail. Do you dare?" "Yanran, look at what you're saying. What do you mean by do I dare? Even if you want to take my life now, it's just a matter of a word. Your belief is my belief, and I will definitely help you achieve what you want to do. I've already said that you're my goddess, and you're my eternal love. My only regret is that you're more capable than me. You've already paved the way for many things, and I didn't let you enjoy life at home. As the crown prince, I'm not competent enough to let my crown princess work so hard, and instead, I've become a parasite eating rice at home. Yanran, you've finally successfully raised me into a dandy who belongs to only you." Yanran was amused by Xiao Xiao. "Maya Xiao, don't belittle yourself. If it wasn't for your help, how could I be so capable? However, I like that you are my playboy." Chapter 304. Xiao Xiao is delighted to see Yanran smile. The tense atmosphere of the past few days has finally eased a little. Then I'm going to live up to my identity as a playboy. He directly carries Yanran into the bathroom and turns on the shower. "Yanran, The conditions here are limited. There's no bathtub for you to take a bath, but I want you to relax and wash away all the tiredness of the past few days. Yenran doesn't refuse. Instead, she hooks her arms around his neck and winks. You mean we'll take a bath together? Xiao Xiao originally just wanted to help Yenran take off her clothes and oil her. He didn't expect Yenran to be so proactive. He is tongue-tied for a moment. Ran, can I? Yenran's little hand has returned from his neck to his collar. Her slender fingers slide over his Adam's apple. Xiao Xiao can't help swallowing saliva. Yenran's eyes are fixed on him. Her red lips are slightly opened and she utters a yes. Then, her soft and boneless little hands touched his buttons. 1, 2, 3. The bathroom is hot and the steam gradually wraps around their bodies. Their clothes become wet. Their sensitive skin can feel the closeness of the cloth more and more. The steam in the air invades their eyelids. Their eyes, which are glued together like magnets, become more sticky, like a 10,000-year gel. Yenran leans close to Xiao Xiao's ear and whispers, Xiao, you've worked hard during this period. Do you want a reward today? Xiao Xiao's eyes suddenly widen in the wet mist. Surprise explodes in his eyes. Ran. He can't help but put his arms around Yenran's waist. But a slender finger touches Xiao Xiao's forehead. Don't rush. After saying that, Yenran's 2 hands went down and gently took off Xiao Xiao's shirt. Looking at the well-defined 8-pack abs, Yenran immediately blushed, but she didn't stop and began to gently unbuckle Xiao Xiao's belt. Xiao Xiao's throat moved violently, and he said in a hoarse voice, Ran. With great difficulty, Yenran unbuckled a belt that was not easy to undo. She was already sweating a little. In fact, her heart was beating like a drum. It was her first time seducing Xiao Xiao, and it was really challenging her bottom line. She stopped Xiao Xiao's hand that was about to hug her. She took a step back and touched her collar with her fingers. Her hair was a little in the way. Yenran shook her hair to the right, but she didn't know that the flirtatious way she shook her hair made Xiao Xiao stare straight. Yenran deliberately glanced at Xiao Xiao. Seeing that his eyes were a little red, Yenran's self-confidence grew a little. She slowly unbuttoned her clothes like she did on TV. Her movements were extremely slow. She unbuttoned her clothes a little. Xiao Xiao looked at the white and tender shoulders that were gradually revealed. In the dense steam, his mouth and tongue became even more dry. When she unbuttoned the 4th button, Yenran's top was almost down to her waist. Xiao Xiao couldn't hold back anymore. He went forward and tore off the last button. He lifted Yenran up by the waist and sat her down on the sink. Then, like a crazy and intense wolf, he pounced on her. Yenran had prepared a few moves in her mind, but before she could execute them, she was led astray by Xiao Xiao. The 2 of them didn't know how they bathed in the end. They only knew that they went directly from the sink to the shower. They also didn't know how they took off their clothes. They only knew that they were completely clean. They also didn't know when they finally walked out of the bathroom. They only knew that in the end, Xiao Xiao said in Yenran's ear, I like this reward. I want it next time. The 2 young bodies were completely relaxed, sweeping away the tiredness brought about by their many days of hard work. The 2 of them fooled around without restraint for the whole night. Xiao Xiao was really crazy that night. He licked Yenran's outer layer of precious fur clean, not leaving a single strand of hair behind. Yenran also did her best to satisfy all of Xiao Xiao's bottomless requests. But in the end, Xiao Xiao really couldn't take it anymore. Ran, do we still have to wait until the day of the wedding? I really can't take it anymore. Yenran buried her head firmly in his chest. Her small head moved up and down as she said in a low voice, I don't know, you can see for yourself. Xiao Xiao really felt that he had dug a big hole for himself. He wanted to give Yenran the best of everything, but he couldn't bear to be intimate with Yenran every time. In the end, he gritted his teeth, wrapped Yenran's body in a blanket, and then hugged her in his arms like an octopus. Yenran poked her cute little head out of the blanket. She opened her blurry eyes and asked innocently with a sleepy gaze, Xiao, don't you want to continue? You're not comfortable yet, right? Xiao Xiao directly used his lips to fiercely cover the pair of eyes that dragged him into the abyss of desire. You're tired. Go to sleep. Yanran didn't understand what was going on. After muttering something, she went to report with Zhou Gong. Xiao Xiao really had the heart to die. Yanran was good at everything. She could be salt, sweet, gentle, strong, soft, and flirtatious. However, time passed too slowly. Although the wedding day was just around the corner, to Xiao Xiao, it was as far away as thousands of years. He had to cross thousands of mountains and rivers to reach it. Looking at Yanran sleeping in his arms, he gently kissed her cheek. My crown princess, wait for the wedding day. I'll give you the happiest moment. Old Tan and Zhou Zhouqian had been tracking her for a long time. Even Zhou Zhouqian had personally gone out. However, finding a person in a city, a metropolis with tens of millions of people, was like finding a needle in a haystack. After searching for so long, there are still no clues. I suspect that she has already left a city. After all, a city is our territory. It's too dangerous for her to stay here. Perhaps she went to another city and thought of a way to leave M country. Old Tan analyzed. Based on my understanding of her, she won't compromise so easily. She must be hiding somewhere and waiting for an opportunity to make a move. I feel that there's something wrong with our search strategy. Since the laborers that we originally locked up have been rescued, they will definitely think of a way to send them back to their country. There are two ways to return to their country. One is through the proper channels, and the other is through smuggling. Zhou Zhouqian had been smoking especially fiercely these past few days. Now, he was about to light another one. Old Tan took away his cigarette. You should smoke less. It's not the time for you to be so troubled. A little girl can't stir up big waves. Even if she eavesdropped on our conversation, what can she do? Without any other evidence, do you think she can do anything to you? That's true, but you don't know how good this girl's brain is. With just a little clue, she can make up a moving and logical story. Zhou Zhouqian still took back the cigarette from Old Tan's hand and lit it between his fingers. You also said that she only told a beautiful story. No one will ruin a person because of a story. We're only capturing her now because she knows our secret and we don't want a second person to know about it. But I don't think it will affect you much. Old Tan looked at Zhou Zhouqian's mature and charming handsome face and shook his head. Zhouqian, I always thought that you were the most stable. I didn't expect you to be so scared by a girl. Zhou Zhouqian didn't say anything else. He knew that Old Tan wouldn't feel much if he wasn't in it. Anyway, let's look for it from another line, especially the place where the black market sells passports. Sister Yanran, the place where the black market sells passports seems to have been targeted. I went there a few times but couldn't buy it. Little Six's voice sounded from the phone. This was the white card they had bought at the last minute for communication purposes. Tell me the details. So I've already found someone who can get a passport, but we agreed to talk about it the next day. But when I went the next day, I found out that he was being watched. I was so scared that I didn't dare to show up. Little Six, if you can't get a passport here, then you have to think of a way to leave a city. It shouldn't be difficult to get one elsewhere. That's what I thought too. However, we have nearly 10 people here now. If we leave, our target will probably be bigger. It's fine to hide. How about this? Rent a truck in advance. Tonight, I'll get Xiao Xiao to send you guys away. Drive a little further and think of a way to return home. Good. Then I'll go prepare. When will we leave tonight? Pick up the crowd and leave the city. 9 o'clock. Little Six listened to Yanran's instructions and rented a large truck. Everyone disguised themselves and got into the container at the back. Little Six was in charge of driving, and in a place where they didn't notice, someone had already noticed something unusual. He took a video and immediately sent it back to Old Tan's phone. Hee, Zhouqian, look at these people. Do you know them? Zhou Zhouqian looked at the video carefully. These people were all familiar, because it had been a long time, and after the torture of life, he basically couldn't recognize them. However, when he saw Minister Tian, who was walking at the back because of his limp, he smiled. "So you're hiding here. You finally showed up. It seems that you're going to run away, but why don't I see Yen Ran?" "Oh, that's right. Now you can rest assured. Since you've found them, smoke less. I'll send someone to catch them all. These people are not to be feared. As long as Yen Ran is not here, they are no match for you. Keep an eye on this car. As soon as Yen Ran appears, inform me to take action immediately." At 9 o'clock in the evening, the truck turned 7 or 8 corners and finally met a person at the entrance of a 5-star hotel. Then, it immediately drove out of the city. They picked up someone at the entrance of the hotel, but it's a man, not a girl as you said. The subordinate drove 3 cars and followed closely behind, reporting to Old Tan from time to time. Zhou Jiutian was a little curious. What does he look like? He looks about 50 years old. His face is full of beard. He's slightly fat and quite tall. There's nothing special about him. Zhou Jiutian searched for this person in his heart, but he couldn't match him. Could it be another person he had locked up here before? He had done too many evil things. Other than Minister Tian, he couldn't even remember who else he had done. Continue to observe. Just like that, Zhou Jiutian's efforts were all for naught. He had always wanted to capture Yen Ran, but he didn't expect that Yen Ran would directly become the background, and the one who was in front of him would be Cao Xiao. Chapter 305. It was not that Yen Ran was lazy. Firstly, she was confident in Cao Xiao's skills. Secondly, she was really busy these 2 days. She packed up all the evidence and sent it back to the country through a special secret channel. At the same time, she sent back the signature page signed by her and Cao Xiao and asked all his subordinates in the cultivation circle to sign it. In fact, this should be announced to all the members in person. However, the impact of this matter was too great, and she was still worried that the news would leak. Secondly, she really could not leave now. After she was done with all this, there was still one big thing to do, which was to arrest Zhou Jiutian and bring him to justice. What she needed to do now was to lure the snake out of its hole. She handed this matter over to her capable subordinates in the country to handle personally. As long as the petition was signed, she could report Zhou Jiutian in the name of the entire cultivation world. She believed that in the current clean society, the country would no longer tolerate the existence of such spies and parasites. She was waiting for the fairest judgment of Zhou Jiutian. Cao Xiao got into the car and sat in the front passenger seat. Little Six was shocked. "Who are you?" "I'm your brother Cao. It was Yen Ran who insisted on dressing me up like this and covering my peerless face." Little Six was amused by Cao Xiao. He looked carefully at his dressing. He had a big beard on his face, and his whole face was painted black. He really did look like a 50-year-old man. "But brother Cao, I can understand that your face is made up, but what about your body? Did Sister Yen Ran feed you during this period of time?" Cao Xiao proudly took out several balls of cotton from his buttocks and waist. "Look, this is how I got fat. Originally, Sister Yen Ran wanted me to dress up as a woman and stuffed cotton into my chest. Later, if I didn't insist, there would be no such tall woman, so she gave up." Little Six laughed heartily. "Brother Cao, you and Sister Yen Ran are both talents." The two of them chatted and laughed, but the speed of the car was not affected at all. As long as they could drive fast, Little Six would drive the car like an arrow. After a while, Cao Xiao found that something was wrong. There were always a few cars following them closely. They had been following them for several streets. As expected, Yen Ran guessed correctly. "Little Six, someone is following us. We must have been discovered." "Heh, racing? He can't beat me in this game. Sit tight." Little Six stepped on the accelerator, and with a loud boom, the car made a sharp right turn on the road. Between the two cars on the right, he dashed to the opposite side and quickly drove in the opposite direction. Cao Xiao's body almost flew out from the sudden turn. He quickly grabbed the handrail and said, "Xiao Lu, you're really something. You're driving a 380. Looks like you've been practicing a lot. This car is not bad. I want to drive other cars, but I haven't found anyone yet. Little Six looked at the panicked cars behind them that were also following them and making turns continuously. However, they could not turn their heads no matter how hard they tried. He laughed happily. However, as they adjusted their direction, it was directly the opposite of the route they had originally planned. Little Six turned back at the next exit. However, after driving for a long time, he realized that he was walking right into a trap. The cars that were following them did not follow them. They directly intercepted them at the main road out of the city. F*CK, these guys, they actually saw through our intentions so clearly. City A is such a big city. Why is there only one road out? There's another road that leads to Death Valley. Didn't we go there last time? Sigh, the infrastructure here is not as good as in our country. In our country, we can go anywhere we want. Here, we still have to fight them head-on. Little Six's words were not without reason. These cars had directly blocked this road. Many cars that wanted to leave the city stopped here and cursed. However, after these people took out their guns and fired a few shots into the sky, they immediately became obedient. Everyone immediately turned their cars around and drove into the city. In the end, only Little Six's van rushed directly towards them. At this critical moment, Chow Chow hurriedly pulled Little Six back. Their cars are bulletproof. Your car is just an ordinary truck. How can it beat them? Hurry up and stop. We need to hide first. Little Six looked and realized that it was true. The row of cars in front of them were all as sturdy as armored vehicles. He sighed. These scumbags even have better equipment than us. He followed the cars that were returning to the city and turned his car around. He stopped about 100 steps away from them under the shade of a tree. From afar, he was directly blocked. Chow Chow asked Little Six to wait in the car. He got out of the car alone and channeled his demonic energy. He flew towards the 3 cars from the side of the darkness. He was worried that Zhou Zhouqian would not be there. Yen Ran said that Zhou Zhouqian's cultivation was very high. If he met him, he would really cause some trouble. If he could not complete the mission given by Yen Ran, it would be a sin. However, the reward after completing the mission made Chow Chow very excited. Chow Chow sneaked forward and used his demonic energy to merge himself into the darkness. He was like a leopard walking in the night, only revealing a pair of bright eyes. He saw about 15 people in the 3 cars, all of them holding heavy weapons in their hands. It seemed that this group of people were fugitives who swore to kill them all. Originally, Zhou Zhouqian had only detained this group of people. It seemed that these people were sent by the casino owner to kill them all. If those heavy weapons were fired, the entire van would be turned into ashes. Chow Chow directly took out the totem and chanted the incantation. In front of the 3 cars, a 10,000 beasts formation was set up. Golden small swords flew towards the 3 cars like a roulette, forming a circle in the night sky. Every small sword emitted a dazzling light, and in a flash, the 15 people seemed to be in a primitive forest. What welcomed them was a frenzied tide of beasts. The earth-shaking roars of the beasts were like a wild tide, and the towering trees in the primitive forest were knocked down by them. In addition to beasts, what welcomed the 15 people were also falling tree trunks. Looking at the huge beasts baring their fangs and brandishing their claws, they couldn't name them at all. Just a horn could directly lift them up into the sky. Their eyes were filled with great fear, and at the same time, they were so scared that they peed their pants and quickly turned to run. The 15 people were chased by these beasts. Some hid, some climbed trees, some fired guns, and the weapons in their hands were constantly released. The earth-shattering sound caused by the heavy weapons also scared the beasts. But beasts were like this, they would never admit defeat. When they saw their prey, they would have the courage to face death. When one beast was knocked down, another would quickly catch up. The beasts were also chasing and biting each other. The vibration caused by the heavy weapons made them think that it was an earthquake, and these beasts ran even more happily. The heavy weapons were fast, but the beasts were much faster than them. Before they could reload the weapons for the second time, they were directly torn to pieces by the beasts. Before they died, they all saw the contempt in the eyes of these beasts. The weak animals still wanted to fight against them, but before they could close their eyes, a heavy beast's foot directly crushed the heavy weapons in their hands. Chow Chow said in his heart, "Who asked you to help the evildoers? The sooner you die, the sooner you can be reincarnated. Don't come looking for me. If you want revenge, go look for those beasts." He watched as these people waved their hands and feet like crazy, and not long after, they all fell to the ground and died. He got into a car and drove the impregnable armored car to the side, leaving the width of a car to pass through. Then, he instructed Little Six to drive the van directly through. Little Six looked at the broken limbs and wreckage on the ground, and his heart was filled with admiration. Sister Yenran was already a godly existence, and he didn't expect Brother Chow to be no less inferior. He nodded at Brother Chow, waved his hand, and whistled away with a group of witnesses. "Boss, the people we sent out can't be contacted now," a subordinate hurriedly reported to Old Tan. "What do you mean can't be contacted? Is there no signal?" Old Tan was shocked, and Zhou Jiutian sat up straight. "There is a signal. The location is at an intersection outside the city, but no one answered." "Then why don't you send someone to take a look?" Old Tan suddenly raised his voice. He had an ominous feeling. After about half an hour, news finally came back from outside the city. "Boss, all 15 people are dead, and their weapons are all crushed. Everyone is in pieces, and it doesn't look like a fight with humans. Instead, it looks like a wild beast tearing at them. The scene is too horrible to look at." "Then, what about the van?" "We don't know where they are. According to the footage, we found that before the van arrived, the 15 people in the van were dancing crazily on the spot as if they were possessed. There were even signs that they were fighting each other. Some of them were hit by the bullets, but we can't determine what happened." "That's right, Captain." After that, a middle-aged man in his 50s got into one of the cars and drove it to the side. The van directly rushed over. The phone in Old Tan's hand slipped to the ground. He sat down on the sofa and stared blankly at Zhou Jiutian. F***CK. At this moment, Zhou Jiutian couldn't help but curse. Yenran wasn't here, but they were still so powerful. It was obvious that they had activated a formation. Only the people from the Eastern aristocratic family knew how to use formations. Could it be that there were still people from the Eastern aristocratic family who were colluding with them? Zhou Jiutian felt his head swell. He sat on the sofa, completely unable to figure out what was going on. At this time, Chow Chow had already taken a taxi back to his and Yenran's place. The moment he entered, he saw Yenran constantly adjusting something. He ran forward excitedly and hugged Yenran. "Aran, my mission has been successfully completed. What reward are you going to give me today?" Yenran put her index finger to her lips and shushed him softly. "Ah Shao, my reward for you is, we are going to lure the snake out of its hole now." Chapter 306. Chow Chow saw that there was an audio on the computer screen in front of Yenran. He listened carefully and heard that a person was reporting something to 2 middle-aged men, and one of the voices was Zhou Jiutian. Chow Chow looked at Yenran in surprise. "When did you install a listening device on them?" Yenran pursed her lips and smiled. "Just when you went out to do something, I found someone who was tracking us. I deliberately appeared in front of him and placed a listening device on him when he wasn't paying attention. This person is really dedicated. He kept chasing me, and then I pretended to be heading in the direction of Death Valley. After running for a while, I shook him off and came back. Look at how obedient this person is. He immediately ran back to report. He just said that I escaped to Death Valley. Aran, you're luring the snake out of its hole. Do you mean that we should get rid of Zhou Jiutian in Death Valley? Maya Xiao is the smartest. That's my plan." Yenran snuggled into Chow Zhao's arms and gave him a thumbs up. "Do you think Zhou Jiutian will fall for it?" Xiao Xiao hugged Yanran tightly and asked worriedly. Originally, they wouldn't have taken the bait so easily, but didn't my Xiao give them a heavy blow? Little Six has already told me about your heroic deeds just now. Under the premise of their repeated failures, they will definitely come. I'm already a very terrifying opponent to them. Zhou Zhouqian won't let me stay in the human world anymore, so this battle is a battle to the death. Either you die or I live. Xiao, let's take him down together, okay? Just as Yanran expected, after Zhou Zhouqian and Old Tan received the report from their subordinates, they unanimously decided that this Yanran could not be left alive. Since she had already appeared, they had to chase her to the end. They analyzed Yanran's escape route and saw that there was only one way. They also went to Death Valley. They did not know why Yanran was going there, but Minister Tian had been there before and was saved by her. No matter what, even if it's a trap, we have to go, Zhou Zhouqian said to Old Tan. Old Tan still had a lingering fear towards Yanran's methods. After listening to his subordinate's report, he knew that this girl from the cultivation world had the power to destroy the heavens and earth. If she continued to exist in this world, she would become their greatest enemy. Zhou Tian, I will send the strongest elites to listen to your orders and have them turn the entire Death Valley into the real Death Valley. If you can't do it because of the rules of your cultivation world, then I will have my subordinates do it and turn Death Valley into this girl's final grave. Old Tan kicked the table fiercely and took out a gun. He aimed it at a vase opposite him. With a bang, the vase shattered. Zhou Zhouqian did not say a word, but from his vicious gaze, his originally handsome and charming face became somewhat distorted. Yanran, it's time for us to fight to the death. This time, I won't show any mercy. When Xiao Xiao and Yanran arrived at Death Valley again, it was already night time. Death Valley was still lonely. The moonlight was bleak, emitting a silver-white light. It was especially cold under the reflection of the stones. At night, the Joshua tree stood alone at the foot of the mountain. The tall treetops swayed gently with the night wind, like a straggling soldier standing on the spot, waiting for a fierce battle to happen. As for the stone pile where Xiao Xiao and Yanran were, it had not moved for a long time. However, the strange rocks and strange stones still made this place appear extremely hard. The two of them found a vantage point and looked down at the commotion below. The surroundings were dead silent. Even the whistling of an eagle had disappeared without a trace. Aran, this is really a good place to fight. If I had known, I wouldn't have sent that monster away first. Otherwise, he would have been a good helper for us. Just thinking about the fierce battle in a while makes my blood boil. Yanran looked around vigilantly. Xiao, you are very powerful now. You can deal with an army of thousands by yourself. Xiao Xiao was very pleased with Yanran's trust in him. Yanran, you rest first. I will go and take down that Zhou Zhouqian for you. Yanran smiled and looked at Xiao Xiao's blood-boiling eyes. She said softly, "Okay." But just as the two of them were talking casually, something unexpected happened. They saw the explosions caused by the heavy weapons roaring towards the mountains. The entire Death Valley was filled with flames. The only few Joshua trees were blown into powder in an instant. The tree trunks and leaves were blown into the air. The mountain rocks, which were originally piled up with stones, were now blasted into oddly shaped pieces of rubble that flew all over the valley. F***CK, before Xiao Xiao could finish cursing, he activated the guard seals and protected him and Yanran. It was as if the heavy weapons knew that the two of them were on top of the mountain and kept bombarding them. The sky was filled with flying sand and stones, blocking their line of sight. Although Xiao Xiao and Yanran had formed hand seals, they were still firmly pressed down by the surrounding sand and stones. They were simply unable to move. The two of them were tired and were about to be buried under a pile of stones. They were really battered and exhausted. Xiao Xiao shielded Yanran under his body. He felt that the surrounding air was about to be sucked away. Countless sand and rocks were squeezing the two of them to the smallest possible size. The only space they could move in was about to be crushed. Xiao Xiao said with difficulty, "How did this F***er know that we are here?" He should have used his spiritual sense. Zhou Zhouqian is indeed not simple. Ah Shao, be careful. Yanran could not even lift her head. In the narrow space, she could only curl up in Xiao Zhao's arms and could not move. Finally, the explosions outside stopped. Xiao Xiao and Yanran realized that the two of them were actually at the bottom of another mountain that had been blown out. Yanran released her spiritual sense and felt the pressure on them. She was estimating how much spiritual power she would need to explode at this time. But before she could use her spiritual sense, an even stronger pressure came directly from the fake mountain. Xiao Xiao and Yanran directly sank another foot. The two of them were caught off guard. The huge pressure came in through the seals made by the guards. The two of them spat out a mouthful of blood. F***CK. Xiao Xiao looked at Yanran with heartache. Looking at the blood at the corner of her mouth, he asked, "Are you okay?" Yanran did not even have the space to raise her hand. But at this time, her eyes became more and more determined. "I'm fine." Yanran simply withdrew her spiritual sense. At the same time, she set up a layer of enchantment around them. Xiao Xiao and her aura were all hidden inside. From the outside, there were no signs of life. "How is it?" "Zhouqian, my plan is not bad, right? No matter how capable you cultivators are, can he withstand the rain of bullets in the human world?" Old Tan finally climbed up the ruined mountain and said to Zhou Zhouqian while panting, "It's such a pity that such a cute girl was crushed to pieces. The people of China all pay attention to the return of fallen leaves to their roots. She can only rest here forever. Should I set up a monument for her? No matter what, she has worked hard for the cultivation world for her entire life." Zhou Zhouqian was still constantly exerting pressure. The pile of ruins gradually sank. The stones that were originally loose due to the explosion were now pressed harder and harder. The large stones became small, the small became miniature, and the miniature finally turned into powder. Like a pile driver, under Zhou Zhouqian's pressure, a tall ruined mountain gradually pressed down to the ground. "All right, Zhouqian, are you going to make a coffin for her? Just in case, this girl has 9 lives. I'll make sure she can't crawl out alive. I originally thought that you had feelings for him. I didn't expect you to turn hostile faster than flipping a book." "Flipping a book? It's just a relationship. How can there be true love in this world?" Zhou Zhouqian finally pressed the entire ruined mountain into the ground, as if nothing had happened. Zhou Zhouqian turned around and smiled at Old Tan. "Let's go, Old Tan. This matter is over. Find me 2 Eastern girls. I want to relax tonight." "Ha ha ha ha, I knew you were the one who could let go. I admire you. You are definitely someone who can do great things." Old Tan patted Zhou Zhouqian on the shoulder and the two of them left the cemetery side by side. Behind them, more than 10 vehicles loaded with heavy weapons followed closely behind. The heavy hammer struck the guard's seal again and again, and the huge pressure caused the seal to deform. Xiao Xiao and Yanran were squeezed together, and under a heavy blow, Yanran was forced to turn around with her back facing the outside. The two people hugged each other and were driven into the ground like pilings. After a long time, the two people who had fainted slowly woke up. At this moment, Xiao Xiao felt that it was not a good thing for his nose to be too high. The seal was already stuck to the sides of his nose. If there was another blow, he did not know if the strength would penetrate and crush his nose bones. Yanran's face was beside him. She was moving millimeter by millimeter, trying to give Xiao Xiao more space for his nose. She used the back of her head to increase the area of the seal. Although it was very small, it still made Xiao Xiao's nose leak out. The air underground was very thin. Only a few wisps of air passed through the cracks in the stone. Xiao Xiao panted and said, "Aran, don't worry about me. Don't hurt your smart brain. Even if my nose bone is broken, I won't die." After saying that, he panted a few more times before he recovered. "No, you won't be handsome if your nose is ruined." Yanran's voice was as soft as a mosquito's. Xiao Xiao could not help but laugh. "Didn't you say that I looked like Guan Yu earlier? Why are you concerned about my appearance now?" I was afraid that you would be sad and not dare to come see me. When you came out of the Yin Yang formation, didn't you run away as soon as you saw me? Xiao Xiao thought of his savage appearance at that time and laughed. Thinking about it, it's really childish. But I have to make myself look good for the one who loves me. Yanron's voice seemed to come from underground. She said slowly, "You won't be ugly without a nose. If you're ugly, only I will want you." Aran, so you're a vinegar jar. Xiao Xiao intimately blew on Yanron's face. You're already like this, and you're still so naughty? Although it was pitch black, Yanron's face could not help but turn red. The more it's like this, the more interesting it is. Aran, think about it. It's rare for someone to create such an opportunity for me to get close to you. Shouldn't I absolutely not give it up? You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.